In a world filled with noise, pressure, and constant movement, clearing the mind can feel almost impossible. But the gentle path of Zen shows us another way. Rooted in stillness and awareness, these Zen teachings offer quiet wisdom to help us let go of worries, settle the mind, and enter deep rest. Each lesson is a doorway to calmness, guiding us to release tension, embrace the present, and drift peacefully into sleep. Through these simple yet powerful truths, we discover that silence isn't empty, it's full of healing. Fall asleep as if nothing belongs to you, not even your thoughts. The heart of Zen lies in letting go, not just of possessions, but of everything we cling to. This includes our worries, our desires, our identities, and even our thoughts. In Zen, it is taught that true rest comes not when the world becomes quiet, but when the mind no longer insists on holding on to it. Sleep is not just about the body resting, it's about the mind surrendering. What if sleep wasn't something we fell into, but something we returned to, because we remembered that we were never meant to carry so much in the first place? In the stillness of a quiet monastery nestled deep in the mountains, a Zen master once told a student to fall asleep as if nothing belonged to him, not even his thoughts. The student was puzzled. How could he not own his own thoughts? Weren't they part of him? The master gently shook his head and pointed to a nearby stream. "Do you try to hold the water that flows by?" he asked. "No," said the student. "Then why do you try to hold every thought that flows through your mind?" The student began to understand. That night, instead of wrestling with his anxieties or replaying the day's mistakes, he sat by the stream and listened. Every thought that came to him, he imagined it was just a leaf floating by on the water. Some thoughts were heavy, some were light, but none were his to keep. He did not chase them, he did not judge them, he did not argue with them, he simply let them pass. And for the first time in years, he felt a deep and undisturbed stillness within himself. Zen teaches that attachment is the root of restlessness. Even when lying in bed, the mind often clutches at things, memories, regrets, unfinished plans, what-ifs. We turn over not just on our mattress, but in our minds. And the more we cling, the more the mind spins. But if we treat our thoughts like clouds in the sky, passing and temporary, we begin to feel what freedom truly is. Thoughts come and go. We are not required to greet each one, host it, or follow where it wants to take us. This understanding creates a shift so subtle yet so powerful. Imagine closing your eyes and feeling no need to fix anything. No urge to solve problems or perfect the day. No battle with your own mind. Just the soft knowing that thoughts are like wind, moving through you, not belonging to you. And like wind, they will pass. The Zen way is not to push the thoughts away or fight sleep like a war to be won. It is to sink gently into the awareness that nothing is truly ours. Not our worries, not our stories, not even our names. In that space, sleep becomes natural again. It becomes a return to peace, not an escape from life. So as the night deepens and the world outside falls quiet, allow the same silence to enter you. Let each thought arise and disappear without grabbing it. Feel the freedom of having nothing to protect, nothing to prove, nothing to hold, as if the mind itself were a clear sky and each thought a star, bright but distant, needing no response. Fall asleep, not with the pressure to rest, but with the relief of letting go, as if nothing belongs to you, not even your thoughts. Because in that surrender, a greater peace holds you. The space between two thoughts is where peace lives. Rest there. Zen does not ask the mind to stop thinking. It simply asks, what happens in the pause? In that fleeting space between one thought ending and another beginning, there is something pure, something untouched. A quiet stillness not created by force, but revealed in the absence of noise. That space, though invisible, holds the secret to deep rest, clarity, and healing. It is not far away. It's always there, waiting beneath the surface of our constant mental chatter. Peace doesn't need to be found, it just needs to be noticed. There was once a Zen student who asked his master how to find peace. The master replied with only a question. Where do your thoughts go when they're no longer here? The student tried to answer, but another thought arose, then another, and another. The master gently smiled. Do you see? Your mind is so busy jumping from branch to branch, it never lands on the ground. But peace does not fly, it lives in the stillness below. That night, the student watched his breath. One thought came. He watched it like a bird in flight. Then, just for a moment, nothing. No thought, no noise, no words, only silence, only presence. In that brief space, he felt a softness he had never known. Not the pleasure of gaining something, but the freedom of needing nothing. That's when he realized the space between two thoughts is not empty. It is full of life, full of peace. So often, the mind is like a crowded street, noisy, chaotic, filled with traffic. But between every car, there's a gap. Between every footstep, a pause. And between every thought, a doorway opens. Most never walk through it. But those who do, even for a second, taste the deep waters of the present moment. And that taste lingers. It quiets the need to overthink. It softens the grip of worry. It gently dissolves the walls we build around ourselves. Zen does not require us to force this space open. It asks only for awareness. When a thought arises, notice it. When it passes, notice what remains. That stillness is not dull. It is alive, vibrant, awake. It is the part of us that is never anxious, never tired, never afraid. It doesn't speak, but it listens. It doesn't move, but it sees. And the more we rest in that space, the more we remember who we truly are beneath the noise. As the body lies down and the world around you dims, try not to chase silence. Just notice what appears when you stop chasing anything. Let the thoughts come. Let them go. But listen for the space between them, that soft breath where nothing is missing, that gentle pause that doesn't need to be filled. That is where peace lives, not in solving, not in fixing, but in resting, right there, in the space between. So let your mind drift without holding on. Let the thoughts play like distant echoes, and let your awareness rest in the quiet between them. Not reaching, not clinging, just being. In that space, you are not your thoughts. You are the sky that holds them. And in the space between two clouds, the sky is always clear. Do not try to silence the mind. Just stop feeding it. Zen does not ask for war against the mind. It does not tell us to silence it by force or to suppress every thought like an enemy. Instead, it whispers a different truth, one that feels softer but cuts deeper. The mind does not grow loud on its own. It grows loud because we keep feeding it. Every worry, every judgment, every replayed memory or imagined future, these are meals we serve the mind without realizing. And the more we feed it, the hungrier it becomes. True peace begins not when we shut the mind down, but when we stop giving it what it craves. In a quiet temple where the mountains touched the sky, a student came to his Zen master in tears. "My thoughts won't stop," he cried. "They are loud, painful, constant. I try to silence them, but they only get stronger." The master said nothing at first. Then he handed the student a small bowl and said, "Every time a thought arises, give it food." The student looked confused. "But there is no food," he replied. "Exactly," said the master. "Now sit and wait." Hours passed. The student sat with the empty bowl. Thoughts came. He noticed them, but he had no food to give. Eventually, the thoughts came less often. Some arrived, looked around, and left. Others stayed a while, then drifted off. By the end of the day, the student's tears were gone, and so was the noise. Not because he forced the silence, but because he stopped feeding the noise. The mind is a storyteller, a collector, a restless wanderer. It feeds on drama, regret, comparison, and fear. It likes to be busy, but Zen teaches us that just because the mind invites us to follow doesn't mean we must go. Just because it asks for attention doesn't mean we must give it. We are not its servants. We are its observers. And when we refuse to feed every story, every fear, every doubt, it begins to settle on its own. Trying to silence the mind directly is like trying to stop a river by grabbing the water. The more we resist, the more chaotic it becomes. But if we stop adding logs to the fire, stop tossing thoughts into the stream, it begins to calm. The noise fades, not because we won a fight, but because we stopped showing up to the battle. As sleep approaches, many lie down hoping the mind will finally be quiet. But Zen offers a different approach. Let the thoughts come if they must, but do not serve them tea. Do not offer them a chair. Just notice them and let them pass. Don't fight them. Don't invite them. Just rest beside them like someone sitting beside a stranger at a train station, knowing they'll soon be gone. This kind of peace is not forced. It is allowed. It arises when we stop fueling the patterns that keep us restless, when we stop replaying arguments, when we stop imagining things that haven't happened, when we stop turning thoughts into reality by giving them our energy. Let the mind think if it must, but let the deeper part of you remain still, uninterested in every passing thought, and soon, without your attention, those thoughts will weaken, they will flicker, they will fade, and in their place, silence will return, not as a victory, but as a home you were never meant to leave. Tonight, don't silence your mind, just stop feeding it. Let hunger do what force cannot. Let stillness rise when you no longer fuel the noise. And in that quiet, sleep will come, not because you chased it, but because you stopped chasing anything at all. Let each breath be your final one. sleep will come as a release. Zen teaches us not to grasp life, but to meet it with open hands, not to cling, not to fight, not to beg time to slow down. In each breath, there is a full letting go of the moment, of control, of the illusion that we are in charge of anything. The deeper truth is this: peace arrives not through holding on, but through the willingness to release. And in the quiet of night, when the body lies still, the most powerful thing we can do is treat each breath as if it were our last, not with fear, but with freedom. There was once a monk who asked his master, "How should I prepare for death?" The master replied, "By dying now." The monk looked confused. "But I'm alive," he said. "Exactly," the master smiled. "So die to your attachments, die to your fears, die to your need to control, and then you'll truly live." That night, the monk went to his bed and breathed as if he were taking his final breath. He exhaled slowly, fully, as if releasing not just air, but expectations, tension, and identity itself. And in that surrender, he felt something strange. Peace. A kind of silence that didn't ask for anything. A quiet that welcomed him home. Zen invites us to live and sleep the same way, with full awareness and full surrender. When we treat each breath as our last, something inside us softens, the inner grip loosens. We stop thinking about tomorrow. We stop rehearsing yesterday. We stop trying to carry the weight of the world into our dreams. There is no future to plan, no past to fix. There is only now and the gentle rise and fall of breath. In this state, sleep doesn't feel like a task. It feels like a return, a dissolving, a melting into something bigger than the self. Just as a wave surrenders back into the ocean, we surrender back into silence, and it begins with one breath, then another, then one more, each one a quiet goodbye, not to life, but to the tension of trying to hold it too tightly. Letting go in this way is not about giving up. It's about trusting that you don't have to hold everything together, that it's safe to release, that you're not abandoning life, you're allowing it to unfold without your constant interference. And when that trust deepens, sleep becomes sacred, not an escape, but a gentle fading into presence. Tonight, as you lie down, don't think about how to fall asleep. Don't try to control the process. Just take a breath. Let it go completely, and treat it like your final exhale, not in sorrow, but in peace. With no need to grasp or fix or strive, if a thought comes, bow to it and release it with the breath. If a fear rises, hold it briefly and breathe it out like mist. Each breath is a teacher, and it teaches this: everything is already letting go. The leaves, the seasons, the stars. Why should the mind be the only thing still holding on? Let each breath be your final one. Not because life is ending, but because you no longer need to carry it into the next moment. Let sleep come as a release, not because you forced it, but because there is nothing left to hold. Only peace, only breath, only now. The pillow is your first teacher of surrender. Zen often hides its greatest teachers in the simplest forms, not in temples, not in scrolls, but in everyday silence. And at the end of a long day, there is one object that silently teaches what most spend their whole lives avoiding: surrender. The pillow, soft, quiet, still. It asks for nothing. It doesn't resist the weight placed upon it. It doesn't argue. It doesn't hold shape. It simply receives. In that gentle act of receiving, it teaches the body and the mind to let go. There was once a traveler who wandered far in search of enlightenment. He climbed mountains, crossed deserts, visited teachers across distant lands. Yet peace never stayed with him. One day, tired and defeated, he lay down on a simple floor cushion in a remote Zen temple. As his head sank into it, the master whispered, "That pillow will teach you more than I can." The traveler didn't understand until he noticed what happened in that moment. The cushion didn't fight his weight. It didn't ask him to be stronger, smarter, or better. It simply absorbed him. And in that soft giving, something in him finally let go. Surrender is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of strength. The strength to stop pretending we're in control. The strength to be held without needing to hold back. The pillow reminds us that softness is not failure. It's wisdom. It doesn't say, "Fix the day." It says, "Release the day." It doesn't demand progress. It welcomes presence. Most people climb into bed but bring their armor with them. Their mind races. Their jaw clenches. Their shoulders carry the weight of everything unsaid, everything undone. But the pillow, in its quiet humility, invites a different way. A quiet reminder that the moment the head touches down, the body is allowed to stop fighting. There's nothing to prove here, no one to impress, no story to uphold, just gravity and grace. Let the pillow show the way. Let it teach the shape of surrender. Feel how it supports without control, how it holds without needing thanks. It doesn't push back against you. It doesn't demand you earn rest. It says, you are allowed to fall. You are allowed to not know. You are allowed to just be. Zen speaks of yielding, not as giving up, but as coming home. And the pillow is often the first doorway into that truth. It is where the mind loosens its grip, where the breath slows, where the body remembers what stillness feels like. It is where the stories of the day dissolve, where even the name you wear begins to slip away. So tonight, listen to the teacher beneath your head, not with ears, but with awareness. Let its softness remind you that you were never meant to carry it all. Let its stillness teach your thoughts to settle. Let its silence help you remember your own. The pillow is not just an object. It is a mirror. It reflects how ready you are to release, how willing you are to be held. Let it be your first teacher of surrender. And in that quiet surrender, sleep will arrive, not as escape, but as peace earned through softness, through yielding, through trust. True rest begins the moment you stop arguing with the day. So much of our exhaustion doesn't come from the body. It comes from the mind replaying battles that are already over. Zen gently reveals this hidden truth. It is not what happens in the day that steals your rest, but your refusal to let it be over. The moment you lie down, the mind begins its trial. What went wrong? What should have been said? What needs to be fixed? But peace does not enter where resistance lives. True rest begins the instant you stop arguing with the day, not because it was perfect, but because it's finished. There was once a Zen master who told his students to sweep the temple courtyard each evening. But one night, a student returned, frustrated and covered in dust. "The wind kept blowing more leaves," he complained. "Every time I cleared the path, more appeared. I could not finish." The master smiled and said, "Then perhaps tonight the wind was your teacher." The student blinked. "But I didn't learn anything." "You learned," said the master. "What happens when you try to finish what was never meant to be controlled?" The student sat with this, and that night, instead of replaying his failure, he breathed. He let the dust settle inside his chest. He allowed the leaves to fall without needing to stop them. He forgave the wind, and in doing so forgave himself. For the first time, he did not argue with the day. He simply let it be over, and sleep came to him like a soft wave, quiet, steady, unquestioned. In Zen, there is a deep understanding that the day carries its own karma. It moves how it moves. People say what they say. Events unfold. And then the sun sets. But the mind, always trying to win, does not know when to put the sword down. It revisits conversations, regrets, mistakes, and unfinished tasks, as if dragging the day back into the room will finally fix it. But it never does. The day cannot be rewritten by midnight thoughts. Rest begins when acceptance enters, not passive giving up, but deep, active allowing. It is the brave decision to say, "This day is done. It has given what it gave. I do not need to replay it. I do not need to argue anymore." In that moment, the muscles soften. The breath slows. The heart, no longer at war with memory, finally opens to sleep. And it must be said, this kind of rest is a discipline. It requires compassion, to let the self be human, to let others be who they were, to let the world remain unfinished. It is not easy, but it is worth everything. Tonight, as you lie down, notice the stories your mind wants to revisit. See if you can meet them with one phrase. "It's over now." Let those words become your lullaby. Let them rock you out of the courtroom and into silence. Let them carry you away from fixing and into being. If the mind continues to speak, don't argue, just breathe. Don't debate, just allow. Every time a thought rises to correct, defend, or redo the day, answer it with softness. It's over now. In doing so, you reclaim your night. You step out of yesterday and into now. And in the stillness that follows, true rest returns. Not just sleep, but a deeper letting go. Not just quiet, but peace. Because rest doesn't begin when the world quiets down. It begins when you do. The moment you stop arguing with the day, sleep finally knows it is welcome. Clouds drift, so must thoughts. Don't hold them. Watch them pass. The mind is a sky, wide and boundless. Thoughts are its clouds, some light and fleeting, others heavy and dark. But no cloud stays forever, and neither does a thought. Yet most people don't see the sky. They only see the storm. They don't let thoughts pass. They grab them, name them, wrestle with them, try to control their shape. Zen teaches another way, a gentler way. Don't hold your thoughts. Don't follow them. Just watch them pass, like clouds drifting across an open sky. There was once a novice monk tormented by his own thinking. He sat in meditation, trying to empty his mind, but the thoughts kept returning, louder, faster, more intrusive. He went to his master in frustration and asked, "How do I stop these thoughts?" The master didn't answer. Instead, he pointed to the sky. "Can you stop the clouds from moving?" he asked. The monk said, "No, of course not." The master smiled. "Then stop trying to stop your mind. Just stop trying to hold the clouds." That day, the monk sat outside. He looked up. A dark cloud passed above him, just like a painful memory. Then a thin, wispy one, like a useless worry. Then sunlight peeked through. And for the first time, he didn't engage with any of it. He just watched. And something shifted. The pain didn't disappear, but his need to fix it did. In that shift, peace emerged, not from silence, but from stillness within the storm. Thoughts become suffering, not because they arise, but because we hold them. We name them mine. We analyze, judge, replay. But thoughts, like clouds, are just passing weather. They're not personal. They don't define the sky. They don't stain the air. And they don't need to be answered. The moment we stop clinging to them, they lose their weight. They keep moving. They fade on their own. This is the practice, not resisting the mind, not chasing peace, but returning again and again to the witness, not the thinker, but the watcher, the one who notices the thought arise, drift, and dissolve, without grabbing onto it like a child reaching for a balloon. Letting go doesn't mean pushing thoughts away. It means letting them pass without becoming them. As the body lies in stillness and night deepens, thoughts may still come, some soft, some sharp, some wrapped in old fears, others wearing the clothes of tomorrow's worries. But you don't need to stop them. You don't need to solve them. You just need to watch them float through the mind's sky like passing clouds. Let them be, let them go. Breathe in. Notice a thought. Breathe out. Let it pass. Then another comes, another goes. Just like the wind, always moving, never yours to keep. And in between those drifting clouds, you'll see the space, the clear sky, the quiet behind the noise. That's where rest lives. Not in emptying the mind, but in not becoming everything it creates. You were never meant to be the storm. You were meant to be the sky. Wide, open, still. Thoughts will come. They always do. But they're only passing through. And when you stop holding them, sleep will find you. Not because the clouds are gone, but because you remembered they were never yours to carry. Clouds drift. So must thoughts. Don't hold them. Watch them pass. Peace will follow. Stillness is not an absence of movement. It is the absence of resistance. Stillness is often misunderstood. People imagine it as something rigid, lifeless, frozen in place. But in Zen, stillness is not a lack of movement. It is the soft release of resistance. It is the space where we stop fighting what is, where we stop struggling to fix the moment, escape it, or reshape it. True stillness is alive. It breathes. It holds space for everything without tension. It doesn't force calmness. It welcomes it, the way a lake welcomes the sky. There was a student who believed that to be still, he had to stop everything. He clenched his muscles, slowed his breath, and tried to quiet his thoughts by sheer will. But the more he tried, the louder his mind became. He grew frustrated and tense. One day, his master handed him a bowl of water and asked him to hold it steady. The student gripped it tight, his hands trembling from the effort. "You're shaking," the master said. "Now hold it lightly." The student softened his grip. The bowl settled. The water calmed. "Stillness," said the master, "is not achieved by force, but by gentleness." We spend so much of life resisting tiredness, resisting feelings, resisting the moment when it doesn't match our plans. We fight the day, then fight the mind at night. But Zen shows us that stillness doesn't come from conquering chaos. It comes from not needing to. Stillness is what happens when we stop trying to control every breath, every thought, every feeling. When we allow things to rise and fall naturally, without pushing them away or pulling them closer. It's not a shutdown, it's a soft opening. It's not cold, it's deeply awake. Even when the body shifts, even when thoughts appear, stillness remains when the heart is no longer struggling. As you prepare for rest, notice where you are still resisting. Are your shoulders holding tension from something unsaid? Is your jaw clenched from something unfinished? Is your breath shallow, as if you're trying not to feel too much? You don't need to fix any of it. You only need to soften. Let the breath come and go. Let the body be exactly as it is. Let the thoughts drift without needing them to stop. Stillness is not about freezing your experience. It's about releasing the tight grip around it, like lying in a river without trying to swim, like sitting beneath a tree without trying to catch the falling leaves. Stillness is the space that opens up when we stop interfering, when we say yes to the moment, not because it's perfect, but because we've stopped needing it to be different. This is the doorway to deep rest. Not a sleep forced by exhaustion, but a sleep born from surrender. Let the breath move without trying to shape it. Let the body sink without trying to position it. Let the thoughts whisper without trying to chase or silence them. Rest inside the stillness that asks for nothing. You don't have to empty the mind. You don't have to hold the pose. You don't have to perfect the silence. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about resisting nothing. When you stop resisting, the noise quiets on its own. The body releases its grip. The mind softens, and sleep comes, not because you chased it, but because you stopped chasing anything at all. Stillness is not an absence of movement. It is the absence of resistance. Let that truth cradle you tonight. Let it rock you gently into peace. The goal is not to empty the mind, but to stop believing it. Zen does not ask us to destroy the mind, silence it completely, or rid ourselves of thought. That's a misunderstanding. Thoughts will come as naturally as clouds move across the sky or waves rise on the sea. The goal is not to force emptiness, but to see clearly, to witness the mind without falling under its spell, to stop mistaking every thought for truth. Because peace is not found in the absence of thought. It's found in no longer believing every single one. A student once came to a Zen master in anguish. "I meditate every day," he said, "but my mind won't stay quiet. Thoughts keep appearing, and they make me feel like I'm failing." The master poured tea into 2 cups. He slid one toward the student and said, "Tell me, Do you believe every story a stranger tells you? Of course not, said the student. Then why believe every story your mind tells? The master asked. The student froze, and in that small silence, something shifted. The mind is a master storyteller. It weaves regret, fear, doubt, and fantasy with incredible skill. One moment, it says you're not enough. The next, it says you're too much. It builds problems that don't exist, prepares for dangers that never arrive, and clings to wounds long after they've healed. But Zen gently reminds us, the mind is not an enemy. It is simply a narrator. And not every narrator tells the truth. Trying to empty the mind by force is like trying to stop the wind. But stepping back and seeing the mind clearly, this is power. This is freedom. When a thought arises, I'm not doing enough. I should be better. What if I fail? You can meet it with awareness, not with resistance, not with agreement, just quiet observation. There's that thought again. And in that simple noticing, the spell is broken. Sleep becomes difficult when we believe the mind's voice is reality. When we lie down and every thought becomes a fact. Every fear feels urgent. Every memory feels alive. But if we shift, even slightly, and see thoughts as mental weather, not commands, we change everything. We no longer have to fix each one. We no longer follow them into darkness. We simply watch and let go. Zen offers a peaceful rebellion. Stop believing the mind. Not because it's bad, but because it's not always accurate. Like a dream that feels real until you wake, thoughts only have power when you believe them. And when belief is withdrawn, thoughts lose their grip. They float, they fade, and what's left behind is a quiet awareness that doesn't need fixing, only witnessing. As the night wraps around you, don't fight the mind. Let it speak if it must, but don't follow. Don't answer. Don't nod in agreement. Let it be the background hum while your awareness becomes the stillness in front of it. With each breath, step further into the present moment, the place where thoughts are visitors, not masters. And if a thought tells you, you can't rest, smile softly. See it for what it is, a sentence, not a sentence, a suggestion, not a truth. Let it drift, let it pass, let it dissolve like mist in morning light. The goal is not to empty the mind, but to stop believing it, to hear the voice without obeying it, to be the space in which thoughts come and go, while you remain calm and untouched. In that space, peace lives. In that space, rest returns. Not because the mind is silent, but because you are finally free. What tires the mind is not life, but clinging to how it should have gone. The body can carry heavy loads. It can walk miles, work long hours, endure storms. But the mind, what wears it down, is not the weight of reality, but the burden of wishing it had been different. Regret is heavier than exhaustion. Expectation is sharper than pain. And it is not life itself that makes us weary. It is the inner fight against how life unfolded. Zen teaches not to escape reality, but to stop rewriting it. The peace we seek isn't in a better past, it's in letting the past be over. A Zen student once came to his master, full of sorrow. "I keep thinking about what I should have done," he said. "The right words, the better choice, the other path." The master handed him a glass of water and said, "Hold this out in front of you." The student held it. 1 minute passed. then 5. His arm trembled. He shifted, straining to keep it lifted. "Why is this so hard?" he asked. The master replied, "The water didn't get heavier, you just kept holding it." This is the nature of the mind. It grips tightly to versions of life that never arrived. It replays conversations, relives mistakes, rewrites endings. It builds whole stories of how things should have gone, and in doing so, it resists the present moment. It tries to walk forward while facing backward. No wonder we feel tired, not from the path, but from the way we carry it. Zen asks us to see the truth. The past cannot be redone, and the future cannot be forced. What's left is the now, and yet we spend so little time here. We live in mental projections, in if only and what if. But those are illusions. Empty images that drain real energy. The mind believes that by revisiting the past, it can fix it. But all it does is spin and spin and spin. Rest begins when that spinning slows. When we stop gripping the glass of what should have been and allow our hands to relax. Life doesn't ask us to forget. It asks us to release. To stop punishing ourselves for not knowing then what we know now. To stop bargaining with ghosts. To stop waiting for a better yesterday. There is a strange kind of peace that comes when we say, "It happened. It's over. It does not define me." That sentence may not change the past, but it opens the door to freedom. And freedom is what invites rest. Tonight, as you lie down, notice the thoughts that begin to whisper. The ones that say, "You could have done more. You should have said this. It wasn't supposed to be like that." Instead of engaging, breathe. Instead of defending, soften. Ask yourself gently, what am I still carrying that no longer exists? Then, one by one, let it fall away. Let each breath be an offering of release. Let each exhale be a quiet surrender. You do not need to win the argument with time. You do not need to perfect the past. You are not required to carry stories that no longer serve you. What tires the mind is not life. It's the clinging, the resisting, the unwillingness to allow what has already happened. Zen doesn't promise a painless life. It offers a path through pain that does not involve suffering. And that path begins with this: accept what was and rest in what is. The past is not a prison unless you keep locking the door. Tonight, you can choose to put down the key. You can rest, not because life was easy, but because you stopped fighting how it unfolded. And in that stillness, the mind finds what it was always searching for: peace. Lay down your name, your history, your goals. Only presence sleeps. There comes a moment in Zen practice when the teacher says, "Set it all down. Your name, your story, your past victories and wounds, even your hopes for the future. Set it all down, not because they are bad, but because they are not needed here." Presence does not require identity. Sleep does not ask for your plans. Stillness does not need your resume. In the deepest rest, nothing is carried, nothing is performed, only presence remains. And it is in that presence, stripped bare of self-image and effort, that true sleep finally comes. A monk once sat before his master with tears in his eyes. "I cannot sleep," he said. "My mind is full of thoughts. Who I've been, who I must become, what I've done wrong, what I must still achieve. The master listened silently, then reached into the dirt and drew a single circle. "This," he said, "is the self when all stories are gone." The monk blinked. "But what remains?" The master whispered, "Everything real, and nothing extra." Zen doesn't ask you to reject your name or goals forever, but it does ask you, can you put them down just for the night, just long enough to remember what you are beneath all of it? Not a title, not a timeline, not a goal in progress, just breath, just presence, just being. The identity we carry throughout the day, the person who needs to succeed, to be liked, to be remembered, is not the one who falls asleep. That version of you is made of effort, made of striving, and effort cannot sleep. It holds tension in the chest. It replays conversations. It plans tomorrow. But the presence beneath all that, the one who simply exists, here and now, without the need to be anything, that one sleeps like a child. Lying down is a sacred act in Zen. It's the posture of surrender, and yet so many lie down while still carrying the world in their chest, goals stitched into their breath, regrets tucked under their pillow. But Zen invites something softer. Lay it all down, gently, without force, without guilt. Just set it beside the bed, like a heavy bag you no longer need to drag into the night. Let the name go. It will be there in the morning. Let the story go. It has already been written. Let the ambition go. Rest is not failure. Rest is not laziness. Rest is trust. A deep trust that presence is enough, that who you are in this moment, breathing, still, empty of titles, is whole. As sleep approaches, ask nothing of yourself. Do not demand insight. Do not chase meaning. Do not recite your worth. Let silence be your identity tonight. Let stillness be your only task. If a thought arises about who you were today or who you must be tomorrow, smile at it and then gently place it down like a coat on a hook. The one who sleeps is not the thinker, not the planner, not the achiever. The one who sleeps is the watcher beneath it all, the one who has nothing to prove and nowhere to go, the one who is free. So, lay down your name, lay down your history, lay down your goals, not in rejection, but in deep kindness, not in erasure, but in rest. And let what remains, simple, wordless, vast, drift softly into sleep. Because only presence sleeps. The rest of it was just noise. If a thought returns, let it leave again. That is Zen. Zen is not about making the mind silent forever. It's not about achieving some perfect blank state where no thought ever enters. That is not peace. That's pressure. Real Zen is softer, gentler. It does not scold the mind for thinking. It simply watches. And when a thought returns, as it often will, Zen says, let it leave again. No need to hold it. No need to fight it. No need to make it mean anything. Just let it come and let it go. Like wind through an open window, like a shadow across a wall. There's a story of a monk who sat by the river every evening watching the water flow. A younger student noticed and asked, "Master, why do you always sit here alone?" The monk replied, "Because this is where I learned that thoughts are like water. They appear, they pass, and they are never the same twice. They do not belong to me. I only watch them." The student nodded, but a week later returned frustrated. "I tried this," he said, "but the same thought keeps coming back. I push it away and it returns. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." The monk smiled and answered, "If it returns, let it leave again. That is Zen." We often think the mind is something to conquer, that if a thought keeps returning, an old regret, a future worry, a painful memory, it must mean something is wrong. But Zen teaches the opposite. It reminds us, thoughts are just thoughts, not instructions, not commands, not reality, just energy passing through awareness. They may visit more than once. That's okay. Their power lies not in their presence, but in our response. When a thought returns, the untrained mind tightens. Why is this here again? I thought I was over this. I need it to stop. And in that tension, suffering begins. But the Zen mind simply sees it, nods softly, and stays still. No drama, no war, no demand for the thought to behave. It is like watching clouds in the sky. Some pass quickly, some linger longer, but none are permanent, and none are personal. Zen is the art of not reacting, of letting life move without needing to control every wave. So when the thought returns, when the doubt knocks again, when the memory replays once more, don't open the door too wide. Don't invite it in for tea. Just acknowledge it and return to your breath, to the present, to the still place beneath the mind where peace has never left. This takes practice, yes, but not effort, not struggle, just a gentle awareness, again and again. When the mind wanders, you guide it back, not with frustration, but with care, not with force, but with trust. And every time you let a thought go without gripping it, the mind learns to trust silence. It learns to rest. As you settle into sleep, thoughts may arise. Some may be familiar, some may be loud, some may come back more than once. Let them, and let them go. Don't push, don't pull, just breathe. Let your awareness be like the surface of a calm lake. Ripples may form, but the water always returns to stillness. If a thought returns, let it leave again. That is Zen. Not by your power, but by your permission. Not by silencing the storm, but by stepping out of it. Again and again, until silence becomes your home. Not because you forced the mind to be quiet, but because you stopped needing to listen. No door must close before sleep. Just the mind must stop knocking. The mind is always knocking, on memories, on regrets, on conversations long past and futures not yet formed. It taps on doors that lead nowhere, doors of what-ifs, doors of unfinished stories, doors of imagined danger. And we think, maybe if we open just one more, we'll finally feel ready to rest. But Zen says otherwise. It teaches that peace does not come when every door is shut, every problem solved, every path completed. Peace comes when the knocking stops, not because the world quieted, but because we stopped asking it to explain itself. A student once said to his Zen master, "I try to go to sleep, but I feel like something's undone, like a door in my mind has been left open." The master replied, "It's not the door that's open, it's your hand that keeps reaching for the handle." The student blinked. Then what should I do? The master poured tea and said, "When the tea is poured, the cup does not ask for more. It receives, and it rests." We are conditioned to believe that every thought must be answered, that we must close every door before we can truly rest. But Zen shows us the doors are endless. The more we open, the more appear. And if sleep waits on completion, we may never arrive. But if we step back from the door, if we let the knocking echo without responding, something changes. The mind quiets, the night deepens, and rest begins. The act of lying down should be an act of surrender, not one more task. But many carry the illusion that the day must be wrapped up perfectly, that closure must be earned before permission to rest is granted. It's not true. You don't have to close every door, you just have to stop knocking. Knocking looks like this: replaying a moment to rewrite it, rehearsing tomorrow's response, wondering what someone meant, digging into what might have been. These are doors with no rooms behind them, just endless hallways that leave the soul tired and the body restless. Zen invites us to try something radical. Let the doors be. Let them stand open, closed, halfway, however they are. But withdraw the mind's hand. Step back from the threshold. Let go of the need to fix the architecture of the day. You are not the janitor of your memories. You are not the locksmith of the future. As sleep draws near, become like the moonlight, present, soft, asking nothing. Let thoughts rise like wind and pass like breath. When the knock comes, hear it, but do not rise. When the door appears, see it, but do not reach. Trust that peace is not behind it. It's here, in the space where nothing is pursued. And if a part of you still whispers, "But what about?" meet it with the same stillness. Let that question hang unanswered. Let it dissolve in the silence you offer. Zen is not about forcing the mind to shut up. It's about showing the mind there is no one listening anymore. So, tonight, do not chase closure. Do not knock on old doors. Do not wait for the world to approve your rest. Instead, become the one who no longer needs to enter. Let the knocking fall silent. Let the doors remain untouched. Because no door must close before sleep. Only the mind must stop knocking. And when it does, you'll find that rest was never behind the door at all. It was in the quiet of not needing to open it. Let silence be the lullaby. Let nothingness rock you to sleep. There is a sound deeper than music, more calming than any voice, more sacred than words. It is the sound of silence. In Zen, silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is fullness without clutter, peace without explanation. It does not try to teach, convince, or prove anything. It simply is. And when allowed to surround us, it becomes the softest kind of lullaby, one that does not need to be sung, one that does not need lyrics. It rocks us gently, not with rhythm, but with stillness. In a quiet monastery hidden among tall pines, a young student once asked his master, "What should I listen to as I fall asleep?" The master answered without hesitation, "Nothing." The student frowned. "But how can I sleep without music, without a voice, without sound?" The master smiled and said, "Because nothingness holds you better than anything else." That night, the student lay down without noise. No chants, no flute, no whispered guidance. only silence. At first, it felt empty, then oddly comforting. And soon, like a warm ocean without waves, it carried him somewhere softer than sleep. We've grown used to filling every corner of life. Noise is our habit, our comfort, even our distraction. But Zen reminds us, silence is not a void to fear. It is a return to the self, a retreat from stimulation, a gentle unwinding. In the silence, the mind stops performing, the body stops pretending, everything uncoils. And in that space, something ancient awakens, the ability to rest without being entertained. Nothingness is not cold. It is not the absence of life. It is the absence of pressure. In the quiet, we no longer need to be anything, no roles to play, no identity to hold, no thoughts to finish, no past to carry. In that stillness, we are no one, and in being no one, we finally feel free. Letting nothingness rock you to sleep is an act of trust. Trust that you don't need to be filled. Trust that peace does not come from more, but from less. Trust that silence will not harm you, but heal you. And it does. In silence, the nervous system settles. The breath deepens. The thoughts slow down. Not because they are forced to, but because they are no longer needed. As the night deepens, you don't have to do anything. Just listen. Not with ears, but with presence. Let the quiet surround you like a blanket. Let it hold your worries without trying to solve them. Let it stroke your thoughts until they grow drowsy. Let it rock you, not with motion, but with stillness, like a leaf floating on water, like the moon resting in the sky. This is the beauty of Zen. It offers no bedtime story. Just silence. Because silence is the story that says, nothing more is required of you. You do not need to finish the day. You do not need to understand it. You only need to stop running from the stillness that has always been waiting for you. Tonight, let silence be the lullaby. No words, no fixing, no sound. Let nothingness rock you to sleep, not as absence, but as presence, not as emptiness, but as home. In the arms of the quiet, may your mind finally rest, not because it was silenced, but because it was welcomed into stillness. Thoughts are just echoes. You don't need to respond. The mind can be loud, but not everything it says is meant to be heard. In Zen, thoughts are seen not as commands or truths, but as echoes, reverberations from the past, from fear, from memory, from habit. An echo has no substance. It's not a new sound, just a repetition of something that already happened. But still, the mind speaks, and we listen. It shouts, and we answer. It whispers, and we chase. Zen offers a gentler way. Let the thoughts echo. Let them pass, but do not respond. You are not required to answer every sound in the cave of your mind. A student once told his master, "My mind won't stop talking. I feel like I must respond, must solve, must think through everything." The master walked the student to the edge of a great canyon. He shouted, and the echo bounced back to them moments later. "Did I say that again?" the master asked. The student laughed. "No, that was just the echo." The master turned. "Exactly. So why do you keep answering the mind as if every echo is a fresh question?" Thoughts arise from many places. Memories that ache, judgments that sting, worries that haunt, hopes that pull. But in the quiet of night, most thoughts are not urgent. They are not invitations. They are just noise repeating itself. They do not need your attention to exist, and they do not need your permission to leave. Zen teaches that not all things must be touched, not all sounds must be followed, not all questions require answers. The mind may echo, but you don't have to echo back. Each time you respond, the echo grows louder. But when you let it pass through you, unanswered, unfed, it begins to fade. It collapses in on itself. Silence reclaims the space. This is how you rest, not by silencing the mind, but by seeing it clearly. Not by shouting over the noise, but by no longer replying. It is in the refusal to engage that peace grows thick. The moment you stop treating every thought like a truth, the spell breaks, the trance ends, you return to presence. As you lie down tonight, notice what arises. Thoughts may come. Let them. Feel them echo and let them drift. Watch them swirl like dust in sunlight, but do not reach for them. Do not argue with them. Do not try to fix, justify, or complete them. They are echoes. You are not the canyon. If a thought tells you something's wrong, observe it. If it tries to tempt you into solving something, smile and turn inward. If it screams for your attention, stay soft. Just like sound fades when no one shouts again, thoughts lose their grip when no one listens with urgency. Peace isn't the absence of thought. It's the absence of reaction. And sleep doesn't require silence. It requires your surrender to not answering anymore. Your willingness to let the echo fade. So rest now. Let the mind echo if it must. Let the voices come and go. But let your awareness stay still and soft and untouched. Because thoughts are just echoes. And tonight, you don't need to respond. Even insomnia is a thought. Do not make it yours. The moment we name a struggle, we often begin to wear it. I can't sleep. I have insomnia. My mind won't stop. These phrases seem harmless, but in Zen, they reveal something deeper. Every identity we claim becomes a role we play. And the more we repeat the thought of insomnia, the more the body believes it must stay awake. But Zen teaches us, even this restlessness, this label, this pattern, is just another thought. It is not you. It is not real. It is not permanent. It only grows strong when you say, "This is mine." One evening, a student came to his master, eyes heavy and spirit restless. "I haven't slept in days," he said. "My mind won't let me." The master looked at him and asked, "Who told you it was your mind?" The student paused. "Well, I think it is." The master poured him tea, then poured some into the empty air beside the cup. The tea spilled everywhere. "Why did you do that?" the student asked. "You were not ready to receive it," said the master, "just like your mind is not ready to sleep while it believes the story of insomnia." Insomnia is not a monster. It's not a curse. It's not a sentence. It's a thought. A sentence repeated enough times that it became a belief. A belief carried long enough that it became an identity. But thoughts do not define you unless you cling to them. Zen offers a quieter way. Witness the thought and do not wear it. Say to yourself, The thought of not sleeping has returned, and then let it leave, like wind through an open door. Don't hold it. Don't feed it. Don't become it. You are not the one who cannot sleep. You are the awareness behind that sentence. And that awareness is not tired. It is still. It is whole. The body may be restless, the thoughts may move, but the deeper you is untouched. It watches. It breathes. It remains. Every time you say, "I have insomnia," you give the mind another thread to weave its web. But what if tonight you stopped saying it? What if the next time that thought appears, you simply said, "Not mine"? What if you refuse to sign your name on a thought that does not serve you? This is not denial. It is liberation. It is the art of disidentification. It is stepping back from the thought and seeing it as what it is. Just a pattern, just a visitor, just a cloud passing through the sky of your awareness. And like all clouds, it will pass if you stop chasing it. Let the thought of insomnia arise if it must, but watch it like a dream you are no longer inside. Let it drift by without pulling you with it. You are not required to follow. You are not required to react. You are not even required to care, because the less attention you give it, the less it stays. Tonight, don't try to sleep. Don't try to fix the mind. Just rest in the truth that nothing is truly yours, not even the idea that you can't rest. And in that surrender, a new stillness can arrive. Not because you silenced the mind, but because you stopped believing what it said. Even insomnia is a thought. Do not make it yours. Let it pass. Let it float. Let it dissolve. You were never meant to carry it into the night. Let it return to where all thoughts go, into silence, and let sleep find you there. The past cannot follow you into true stillness. Leave it behind. Stillness is not just a quiet room or a slow breath. In Zen, stillness is a sacred space the past cannot enter. Not because you've erased it, but because you've stopped carrying it. The past is heavy, not because of its weight, but because of how tightly the mind holds on to it. But there is a place beyond thought, beyond memory, beyond story, where even the deepest wounds lose their voice. That place is true stillness, and the past, no matter how loud it was, cannot speak there. A monk once asked his teacher how to let go of something that haunted him. "I feel like I drag it with me everywhere," he confessed. The master handed him a stone and told him to hold it tightly. "Now walk around the temple," he said. After a few minutes, the monk returned, exhausted. "What did you learn?" asked the master. The monk replied, "The stone didn't grow heavier, but I grew tired." The master nodded. "And now you can set it down." The past is like that stone. It doesn't chase you. It doesn't grow. But the longer you grip it, the more tired you become. The more you replay it, the more tangled your breath. And when night comes, the mind drags that same stone into the bed, wondering why peace feels so far away. But Zen reveals a softer truth. The past cannot walk into stillness unless you carry it. Stillness is now. It has no memory. It doesn't care who you were. It doesn't ask what you've done. It welcomes only what is, not what was. And the moment you stop rehearsing the story, the moment you stop trying to rewrite the ending, the past begins to fade, like mist burned off by morning light. This is not about forgetting. It's about resting. You are allowed to rest from your history. You are allowed to lay down the roles you played, the mistakes you made, the moments that didn't go how you hoped. Rest is not earned by fixing the past. It is granted by releasing your grip on it. As the night deepens and the body softens, ask yourself, what am I still holding? What part of the day or the decade am I dragging into this quiet room? Notice it, acknowledge it, then breathe. Let each exhale be a letting go, not a dramatic goodbye, just a soft loosening. And if a memory arises, meet it gently. You don't need to banish it. Just don't invite it to stay. Let it pass like a traveler through a village you no longer live in. Let it knock and remain at the door. You don't have to answer. Stillness doesn't come when the past is resolved. It comes when the need to resolve is released. And in that freedom, the soul returns to its natural rhythm, a rhythm untouched by regret, a rhythm rooted only in now. So lie down tonight, not as who you've been, but as who you are, breathing, still, enough. Leave the past outside the room. Let it wait on the doorstep, like yesterday's wind. It has no voice here, no power, no place. The past cannot follow you into true stillness. Leave it behind, and let peace take its place. Do not chase sleep. Welcome. Rest like you would a quiet guest. Sleep is not something to be hunted, captured, or forced. It does not respond to pressure, deadlines, or desperation. The more we chase it, the further it seems to drift. Zen whispers a softer truth. Do not chase sleep. Open the door instead. Prepare the space. Welcome rest the way you would greet a gentle guest who arrives unannounced, barefoot and calm, asking for nothing but a place to settle. There was once a traveler who knocked on the door of a small Zen temple after a long journey. The monk answered and welcomed him inside. I have nothing prepared, the monk said, but the floor is clean and the tea is warm. The traveler smiled. That is all I need. They sat in silence, sipping tea, watching the moonlight paint soft shadows on the walls. No conversation, no performance, just presence. The traveler soon closed his eyes and rested there, not because he was told to, but because the space allowed it. Zen reminds us that sleep is not the goal. Rest is. Rest does not mean unconsciousness. It means surrender. It means letting the nervous system loosen its grip, letting the mind step off the stage, letting the breath become soft again. And when the body feels welcomed instead of pushed, sleep arrives naturally, not as a command obeyed, but as a reward for letting go. So many toss and turn, trying to fall asleep like it's a task to accomplish. But sleep cannot be earned by effort. It is received through invitation, and invitations begin with how we treat ourselves. Are we creating a space that welcomes rest, or one that is filled with judgment, noise, and demand? To welcome rest like a guest is to tidy the inner house, to dim the lights of thought, to set aside expectations, to offer stillness instead of solutions. If a thought knocks, you don't have to slam the door. You simply don't invite it to stay. You acknowledge it, then return to the space of silence you've prepared. This is the shift. No more chasing, no more controlling, no more telling the body what it must do. Just allowing, just receiving, just being with the quiet as it is. Trust that rest knows how to find you. that it does not need chasing, only space. Tonight, treat rest as something sacred, as someone dear who comes when the room is ready. Straighten your breath, soften your inner voice, light the candle of stillness in your chest, and wait. You don't need to beg rest to arrive. You need only stop standing in its way. The bed is not a battlefield. It is a temple, and the guest you wait for is already walking down the path, barefoot, unhurried, smiling. Do not chase, do not plead, just open the door and be still. Do not chase sleep. Welcome rest like you would a quiet guest. Make space, offer peace, and let it come in when it's ready, on soft feet, without a sound. A mind that stops fixing becomes a body that starts healing. The mind is always trying to fix something, the past, the future, the self. It clings to problems like puzzles that must be solved before rest is allowed. But Zen offers a quiet truth. Healing doesn't come from fixing. It comes from allowing. The body cannot fully heal while the mind is in constant repair mode. It's only when the mind softens, when it stops reaching, controlling, correcting, that the body finally exhales. And in that exhale, healing begins, not as effort, but as return. A student once asked his Zen master, "How can I heal my suffering?" The master said nothing at first. Then he picked up a torn piece of cloth and tried to smooth it by pulling and tugging. The cloth only became more tangled. Then, with open hands, he gently laid it down, and the fabric settled into its shape. "You do not heal something by pulling on it," he said. "You heal it by stopping what caused the tear." So much of our suffering is not from the wound itself, but from the endless mental friction around it. The analyzing, the obsessing, the searching for answers, the rehearsing of pain. The fixing mind does not create peace, it only creates more fixing, and the body, caught in this endless storm, cannot rest. It tenses, it braces, it forgets how to soften. Zen teaches that true healing begins when we stop interfering. Like a cut that closes when left untouched, like water that clears when it's no longer stirred, so too does the body begin to heal when the mind stops tightening its grip. This is not the same as giving up. It is deeper than that. It is a sacred surrender, a trust that the body knows the way if the mind will stop standing in the way. The mind says, "Something's wrong, I must fix it." Presence says, "Nothing needs fixing right now, just space, just stillness." As you lie down tonight, notice where your mind is still trying to fix. Is it solving a conversation, rewriting a mistake, predicting a problem? You do not need to push these thoughts away. Just notice them, then let them be, like tools set down after a long day of work. They are not needed now. The work is done. Let the breath be soft. Let the body be imperfect. Let the moment be incomplete. This is not a problem to solve. It is a space to rest in, and in that space, the body begins to repair. Cells respond to silence. The nervous system listens to gentleness. Muscles unwind not with pressure, but with permission. You don't have to fix your pain tonight. You don't have to fix your thoughts. You don't have to fix yourself. Just stop fixing and begin listening. Healing is already happening. It always was. The only thing it was waiting for was your stillness. A mind that stops fixing becomes a body that starts healing. So rest now. Not because everything is resolved, but because healing was never about resolution. It was about return, and you are already on your way home. Let your last waking act be forgiveness. The body will soften. Before the body can truly rest, the heart must unclench. And nothing softens the heart like forgiveness. Not a whispered mantra, not a perfect breath, not even silence. Forgiveness is the deepest exhale. It is the letting go beneath all letting go. It asks nothing of the past but this, to loosen its grip. In Zen, it is said that sleep comes easiest to the one who no longer carries the weight of yesterday. Let your last waking act be forgiveness of others, of yourself, of the day, and watch the body melt like snow in warm light. A student once asked his master, "How can I sleep when my mind replays every wrong?" The master handed him a stone and said, "Carry this all day. Do not set it down, not even once." By nightfall, the student's arm ached. "Why did you give me this burden?" he asked. The master replied, "Not I. You carried it." The student blinked. "So now," the master said, "put it down." Resentment is like that stone. Regret, too. So are harsh words unspoken, mistakes that echo, and unmet expectations we secretly clutch. These things do not exist outside of us. They live in us only when we refuse to release them. Forgiveness is not about making the past right. It is about choosing not to carry it into the night. To forgive is not to say it didn't matter. It is to say it doesn't need to keep mattering now. It is to stop punishing yourself for being human. It is to stop holding others hostage inside your chest. And in that moment, when you forgive, not with words but with presence, the body exhales, the jaw loosens, the fists unclench, the breath deepens, and rest becomes possible. Zen teaches that nothing rests while it's still at war. So if the day has left bruises, if someone misunderstood you, if you fell short of your own ideals, if the world felt too sharp, let this be the moment you put the sword down, not to forget, not to justify, but to rest. Forgive the thought that won't leave you alone. Forgive the voice that told you you're not enough. Forgive the person who didn't see your heart. Forgive the part of you that still thinks you have to earn rest. Forgiveness is not a performance. It is a quiet opening. It is saying to the self, "You can stop now." And as you lie down, let that be your final act. Not a scroll through memory, not a list of things to fix, but a gentle loosening. Let it begin with a breath. Let it move into your shoulders. Let it travel through your spine like warm water. Every part of you softened by the choice to no longer hold so tightly. This is how the mind quiets, not because it was forced into stillness, but because it was freed. Freed by the understanding that what happened today does not need to follow you into sleep. That peace is not something you earn, but something you allow. Let your last waking act be forgiveness of everything, of everyone, of yourself most of all, and feel the body respond, not with resistance, but with surrender. The weight lifts, the muscles sigh, the breath slows, and in that quiet mercy, sleep comes, not to the perfect, but to the forgiven. Drop the question, drop the answer, drop the one who wants to know. The mind is a seeker, always asking, always reaching. It wants to know, It wants to understand. It wants to figure everything out before it lets go. But in Zen, the deepest truths don't come through knowing. They come through release. There is a silence deeper than any answer, a peace greater than any conclusion. And to reach it, you must do the unthinkable, drop the question, drop the answer, and drop even the one who wants to know. A student once sat before a Zen master, tormented by confusion. "What is the truth?" he asked. The master said nothing. "What is enlightenment?" Still nothing. "Why am I here?" Silence again. Finally, the student shouted, "Why won't you answer?" The master looked up and gently said, "Because the one asking is the only thing standing in the way." In the beginning, questions feel important. We believe if we can just solve them, we'll find peace. But Zen whispers something quieter. The question isn't the way out. It's the trap. The need to understand is what keeps the mind restless. The moment we demand answers, we tighten. We lean forward. We leave the present. But the truth, if it lives anywhere, lives only in now, and now requires no explanation. This is why Zen koans often make no sense to the thinking mind. They're not meant to be solved. They're meant to exhaust the mind's need for control, because only when the mind is weary of chasing answers does it fall silent. And in that silence, the deepest knowing appears, not as a thought, but as presence. As you lie down tonight, notice what the mind is still trying to solve. Is it asking why something happened? What will come next? Whether you're doing life right? You don't need to wrestle those questions. You don't need to silence them by force. You only need to drop the weight of needing to know. Drop the question. It is not urgent. Drop the answer. It will not complete you. Drop the one who is searching, because the search was the distraction all along. And then rest. Not in knowing, but in being. Let your breath move without needing to understand it. Let your body soften without demanding why. Let your awareness expand past the borders of identity, past the seeker, past the search. This is not emptiness. This is fullness without form, peace without a name, a place where thought no longer dominates and self no longer separates. If a thought says, "But I need to figure this out," answer with stillness. If the seeker rises again, gently bow to it and let it go. It is not your enemy. It is simply not needed anymore. Because the deepest rest comes not when the question is answered, but when the question no longer matters. And in that moment, what remains is not confusion or clarity, but presence. Still, vast enough. Drop the question. Drop the answer. Drop the one who wants to know. What's left is silence. And in that silence, sleep enters like a tide. Quiet. Complete. Free. Sleep is not a reward. It is a natural return. The world teaches us to earn everything: praise, rest, even peace. We are told that only after doing enough, trying enough, being enough, then we may deserve sleep. But Zen does not speak in transactions. It does not keep score. In Zen, sleep is not a reward. It is not the prize at the end of a productive day. It is a return, a quiet coming home to what was always yours. You don't need to earn it. You only need to allow it. There was once a wandering monk who refused to lie down at night until he had completed every task perfectly. His robes folded just right, his chants uninterrupted, his mind disciplined. One evening, exhausted and trembling, he collapsed before finishing his evening ritual. He dreamed of a wide river, silent and still. A voice whispered to him, "You are not the river's master. You are its reflection. You do not need to shape it, only float." He woke with tears in his eyes and never again treated sleep as something to win. The modern mind struggles with this. It wants sleep to be an achievement, something to check off the list after the inbox is cleared and the self-improvement is done. But the trees don't earn their rest. The ocean doesn't ask for permission to be still, and the moon does not apologize for fading into darkness. Nature does not prove itself before it sleeps. It simply follows its rhythm. And you are nature too. To believe sleep must be earned is to turn rest into labor. It tightens the breath. It creates guilt in stillness. It whispers, "Have I done enough to lie down?" But Zen answers with a smile, "You are already lying down. The body already knows what to do. Let it return." Because that is what sleep truly is, a return. To breathe, to softness, to the place where thoughts don't need to be solved, where identities dissolve, where the self melts back into something wordless and whole. It is not the end of the day. It is the dissolving of the illusion that you had to be anything at all. You do not need to meditate perfectly to rest. You do not need to finish every task. You do not need to be wise, calm, or grateful. You do not need to deserve it. You only need to stop interrupting what the body already knows how to do. Zen teaches that the more you chase sleep, the more it hides, but the more you trust it, the more it returns. Not because you summoned it, but because you finally stepped out of its way. Like a boat floating downstream, rest finds its course when you stop paddling upstream. Tonight, try no effort. Let go of the belief that something needs to be done before peace can arrive. Let the thoughts soften without needing answers. Let the day close without needing resolution. Let the breath come and go, not as a technique, but as a rhythm that has always been yours. Sleep is not a reward. It is not something outside you. It is the most natural return to your quietest self. And when you stop trying to deserve it, you fall into it. Not like someone arriving late, but like someone finally remembering the way home. The bed is not a battleground. It is the temple of release. For many, nightfall does not bring peace. It brings a second shift. The body lies down, but the mind sharpens. Thoughts become soldiers. Regrets become weapons. The soft sheets turn into armor, and the pillow becomes the place where wars are waged silently in the dark. Zen offers a different view, one so gentle it feels like a balm. The bed is not a battleground. It is the temple of release, a sacred place not for thinking, fixing, or bracing, but for laying down everything. Not just the body, but the burdens, the roles, the inner noise, all of it. A student once confessed to his Zen master, "At night, I lie down and feel like I'm fighting myself." The master listened, then asked, "Do you fight to enter a temple?" The student blinked. "No, of course not. You enter with reverence." The master nodded. Then treat your bed the same way, not like a problem to solve, but like a sacred space to enter quietly. So many approach sleep with tension, clenching their jaw, replaying the day, trying to earn their rest. But Zen gently reminds us, rest is not a reward, it is a return. And the bed is not the final battlefield of a hard day, it is the place where the war ends. In Zen temples, there is a ritual before entering the meditation hall. Shoes are removed, voices are softened, the body bows in humility. This is not just ceremony, it's transformation, a shedding of the outside world. And the same can be true at bedtime, not through habit, but through reverence. Remove the day, remove the name, step into stillness as if stepping into sacredness, because the bed too can be a temple, if we treat it as one. What would it feel like to lie down and not try, to not strive for sleep, to not rehearse a better version of the day, to not correct, adjust, or prepare, but instead to arrive, to bow inward, to treat the sheets as a sanctuary and the darkness as a blessing? Let the breath be the only prayer. Let the release be the ritual. Let the soft exhale be enough. When thoughts come, as they will, see them like incense smoke rising and fading. When emotions stir, let them move through you like wind through curtains, touching but not staying. And when the mind wants to fight again, wants to argue, prove, solve, place a hand on your chest and gently remind it, this is not a place for war. There is nothing to win here, nothing to conquer. The day is done, the self is safe, the body is held. Your bed is not the arena of overthinking. It is the place where the armor falls away, where the roles dissolve, where even the name you carried all day slips off your shoulders and disappears into stillness. So enter it not with a clenched jaw or racing thoughts, but like one returning to sacred ground. Lay down your striving. Lay down your story. Let sleep come, not because you earned it, but because you no longer need to fight. The bed is not a battleground, it is the temple of release, and within its quiet walls, peace waits with open arms. No image, no mantra, no trick, just let go. That is the final teaching. At the end of all the teachings, after every breath technique, every mindful step, every whispered mantra, there is only this: let go. Not as a method, not as a goal, but as a surrender so complete it doesn't even need to be named. Zen peels everything away. It strips the rituals, the symbols, the systems, until all that remains is space. And in that space, the final teaching is not taught, it is felt. No image, no mantra, no trick, just release. A student once asked his master, "What is the last thing I must do to awaken?" The master replied, "Drop it." The student blinked. "Drop what?" "Everything," the master said, "even the question." There was a pause. The student opened his mouth to speak again. The master held up a finger, not to silence, but to still. And in that instant, the student understood. There was nothing more to chase, nothing more to perform. Peace was not after something. It was without something. We seek images to focus on, mantras to soothe, methods to control the mind. And sometimes these help, but they are not the end. They are bridges, gentle tools to guide us toward the edge of effort. But the final step is one you cannot take. It is the moment when the stepping itself stops, when the mind lets go of itself, when even the desire to rest falls away, and rest simply happens. Zen teaches that nothing needs to be added. The quiet is already here. The moment is already whole. The mind doesn't need to be perfected. It only needs to loosen its grip. But it resists, thinking it must do something, that it must earn, fix, achieve. Even in sleep, the mind tries to work. But the deepest rest is found not in doing, not in fixing, not in reciting, but in letting everything drop. Thought, effort, identity, even the thought of letting go. There is no trick, no secret word, no perfect image. Only this soft truth. Everything that needs to happen will happen when you stop interrupting it. The body knows how to sleep. The spirit knows how to return. The moment you stop trying to enter peace, you discover it's already beneath you, holding you, waiting for you to stop running circles around it. As the night folds around you, don't search for a special feeling. Don't try to create silence. Just notice what's already here when you stop adding anything more. Not your best thought, not your deepest mantra, not your favorite image, just this: the breath, the body, the space, and the stillness that remains when you stop needing anything else. No image, no mantra, no trick, just let go. That is the final teaching, the one beyond the words, beyond the techniques, beyond even the desire to be taught. It is not something you do, it is what happens when you stop doing. And in that space, sleep does not arrive. It returns. It was never gone. It only waited for you to become quiet enough to notice it. Thinking is just dreaming with tension. Let it unwind. The mind never truly stops moving. Even in sleep, it dreams. But there is a difference. A dream floats. Thinking clings. A dream drifts in softness. Thinking grips with effort. In Zen, the mind is not the enemy, but it is a restless craftsman, always building, solving, fixing, imagining. And when we lie down at night, the mind often doesn't understand that the day is over. It keeps going, not realizing it's time to let go. But what if we saw thinking for what it is? Just dreaming with tension. Not dangerous, not necessary, just tightness in disguise. And what if, instead of trying to stop it, we simply let it unwind? A monk once told his master, "Even when I sleep, my mind keeps working. I feel like I never stop thinking." The master smiled gently. "That is not thinking," he said. "That is tension wearing a disguise. You are not thinking, you are holding on." The monk asked, "Then what should I do?" The master replied, "Open the hand of thought, let it fall like a leaf, then watch it drift, not with control, but with curiosity." This is the way Zen approaches the mind, not with a sword, but with space. When thinking becomes soft, it becomes dreamlike. When we stop chasing every thought, we stop binding them with tension. We stop shaping them into problems. They return to vapor, to air, to nothing. At night, this is the most important skill, not to stop thinking by force, but to loosen it, to watch thought become breath, to let the grip inside the chest ease just a little more with each exhale. Thought wants to be acknowledged, but not always answered. It wants to be felt, but not always fixed. When we stop fighting it, it stops fighting back. Thinking is like a rope pulled tight, thought after thought after thought. But if you let go of just one end, the rope unravels, the tension fades. What was once tight becomes thread. What was once noise becomes space. As you lie down tonight, notice how your thoughts feel. Not what they say, but how they move. Are they heavy? Are they sharp? Are they fast? You don't need to stop them, just don't pull on them. Don't tie them tighter, let them breathe, let them soften, let them unravel into stillness. And when you catch yourself thinking again, planning, remembering, analyzing, smile, not with frustration, but with understanding. Say quietly, "This is just dreaming with tension." And then breathe, release, let it unwind. This is not a battle. This is not a test. This is the return. Back to softness, back to the part of you that does not need to think to exist, that does not need to fix to be whole, that does not need to chase peace because it already is peace. So rest now, not in emptiness, but in gentleness. Let the thoughts pass like clouds with loose seams. Let the dreams come, but without the rope. Let the mind wander, but without the weight. Thinking is just dreaming with tension. And tonight, you can let it unwind. Let it drift. Let it loosen. And let sleep arrive like mist through an open window, unforced, untouched, fully welcome. You are not your thoughts. You are the stillness they pass through. Thoughts come dressed in certainty, loud, urgent, persuasive. They speak in your voice and wear your memories. So it's easy to believe them, easy to think that every fear, every judgment, every story in your head is a part of you. But Zen teaches something softer, something that rewrites everything. You are not your thoughts. You are the stillness they pass through, a sky untouched by the storm, a river that holds the reflection but is never disturbed by it. There was a monk who spent years trying to silence his thoughts, thinking that if he could just quiet his mind, he would finally be free. He meditated, fasted, chanted, resisted. But the more he fought the thoughts, the louder they became. Exhausted, he went to his teacher and said, "No matter what I do, I can't stop them." The teacher smiled and said, "Then stop trying, let them come. But remember, you are not the voice in the room, you are the room." That moment changed everything. The monk returned to his cushion. This time, when thoughts came, old fears, memories, the hunger to be better, he didn't argue. He didn't grab them. He didn't push them away. He let them pass like shadows across the floor, and for the first time, he met the part of himself that had always been there, quietly holding everything without becoming anything. Zen doesn't ask you to fix your thoughts. It asks you to witness them, not from the center of the storm, but from the eye. The calm, the stillness that sees the storm without getting caught in it. Thoughts are weather, brief, shifting, unpredictable. But the awareness they move through, that's who you are. And that awareness is never anxious, never broken, never loud. It simply watches. Tonight, as you lie down, the mind may stir. Thoughts may rise like smoke. Stories may play. That's okay. Let them come. but do not grab them, do not become them. Just notice, a thought. Then watch it go, without following, without fighting, without becoming the echo it leaves behind. Every time you watch a thought without believing it, you return to yourself. Not the small self shaped by ideas, but the vast, silent self that has no shape at all, the one who doesn't need to be right, doesn't need to be certain, doesn't need to be heard. That stillness has never been touched by a single thought. And here is the miracle. The more you rest in that stillness, the less power the thoughts have. Not because they stop, but because you remember they are just passing guests. Just birds crossing a sky they do not belong to. The sky does not follow the bird. It holds it briefly and lets it fly. You are not your thoughts. You are the stillness they pass through, the soft space that doesn't react, the gentle watcher that holds without clinging, the quiet truth beneath every noise. So, breathe now. Let the thoughts come and go. No judgment, no resistance. You do not need to answer them. You do not need to solve them. Just let them pass and return to what never moves. Return to the stillness. Return to yourself, and let sleep find you there, where nothing is missing and everything is already whole. Be where your feet are, even if they're under the covers. The mind is a traveler. Even when the body is still, it races ahead, planning tomorrow, rewriting today, wandering through what-ifs and unfinished stories. But Zen pulls us gently back to earth with one simple truth. Be where your feet are, not where your thoughts are, not where your fear is, not where your ambition tries to drag you. Just here, just now. Even if your feet are tucked beneath the covers and the world outside is sleeping, this moment is enough. It always was. A student once asked his teacher how to stop the mind from wandering. "I try to stay present," he said, "but I keep drifting away." The master replied, "When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you lie down, lie down. That is all." The student frowned. "But what if my mind wanders anyway?" The master smiled. "Then notice the covers, feel the mattress, be where your feet are. That's where the real world is." So much of rest is stolen by absence, not of sleep, but of presence. The body lies in bed, but the mind is already at tomorrow's meeting or yesterday's mistake. It leaps past the quiet, hunting for control in places it can't reach. But Zen invites us back, not with pressure, but with kindness. It says, feel your breath, feel the warmth around your feet, feel the gravity holding you to the earth. That's where your life is, not in your head, but in your skin. To be where your feet are is to come home. To drop anchor in the moment, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if nothing seems remarkable. Because this is where healing happens. This is where rest begins. Not in ideas, in presence. If the mind starts to run again, let it. But don't run with it. Just return. Feel the soft fabric around your toes, the stillness of the room, the rhythm of your breath, like a lullaby. You don't need to do anything grand. You don't need to figure out life. You only need to be here, because here is the only place peace can meet you. Not in the next moment, not in the next thought. Here, where your feet are. Even if they're under the covers, even if nothing is happening, Even if the world is quiet and small, this still counts. This still matters. So let the breath slow. Let the need to chase or fix dissolve. And let your awareness drop from the noise in your head to the ground beneath you. Let it settle in the feet, in the skin, in the softness of now. Be where your feet are, not where you should be, not where you were, not where you're headed. Just here, in the quiet temple of this moment. That's where rest lives. That's where sleep finds you. Even under the covers, presence is still sacred. And this moment, this breath, this body is already enough. Be where your feet are, even if they're under the covers. Zen does not wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't ask for silence, candles, or mountaintops. It begins exactly where you are, in the clutter, in the softness, in the quiet hum of night. And in this moment, right now, your feet are under the covers. That is enough. That is sacred. Presence isn't something you chase. It's something you return to, again and again. And it always begins by being exactly where your body already is. A young monk once asked his master, "How do I find enlightenment?" The master replied, "Take one step." Confused, the monk asked, "Where should I step?" The master said, "Right where your feet are." It wasn't a riddle, it was a reminder. The mind travels far, into past mistakes, future worries, imaginary conversations, but the body never lies. It is always here, and it invites the mind to join it, to come home. In Zen, there is no higher place than this one, no better now, no deeper moment waiting down the road. There is only the simple miracle of being where you are, fully, without wishing to be somewhere else, without needing the next thought, the next fix, the next version of you. Presence is not a skill, it's a permission slip to stop leaving. Even in bed, the mind wanders. It climbs into tomorrow, it rewinds into yesterday. But Zen teaches, come back. Feel the sheets, feel the breath, feel the weight of your body resting, not as a technique, but as truth. There is no other moment but this, no other breath than the one you're taking now, no other feet but the ones beneath your blanket. You don't have to reach for calm, you don't have to perfect the moment. You only have to arrive in it, over and over. Even if you left 1,000 times today, even if your thoughts are still racing, come back. No drama, no shame, just feel the warmth of where you are. That is the doorway. That is the practice. And if your thoughts say, but there's more to do, more to figure out, thank them and stay. Come back to the inhale. Come back to the heaviness of your limbs. Come back to the quiet world beneath the covers. That's enough. Presence doesn't ask you to escape. It asks you to notice. Notice how your body rests. Notice how the bed holds you. Notice how nothing urgent is happening right now. All that's required is your return to what's real, not imagined, not rehearsed, not remembered, real. So tonight, don't chase peace. Don't wait for stillness to arrive. Be still, be soft, be where your feet are, even if they're under the covers. That's all Zen ever wanted from you. And in that small, quiet choice, the world falls away and sleep gently steps in. The one who wants sleep is not the one who falls asleep. Wanting is tension. It's reaching, grasping, waiting for something to arrive. But sleep does not come to the one who tries. Sleep comes to the one who stops trying, the one who lets go, the one who disappears into stillness. In Zen, there is no reward for effort when it comes to peace. The harder the wanting, the tighter the grip, and the tighter the grip, the further sleep slips away. The paradox is quiet but powerful. The one who wants sleep is not the one who falls asleep. A restless student once asked his master, "Why can't I sleep no matter how badly I want to?" The master responded, "Because wanting keeps you awake." The student looked puzzled. "Then who falls asleep?" The master smiled, "The one who forgets to want anything at all." Sleep is not a transaction. It's not something you get in exchange for exhaustion. It's a return, a soft dissolving, a fading of form, and the you that says, "I need to sleep. I hope I fall asleep. I should already be asleep." That voice is made of tension. It keeps the mind alert, the breath shallow, the body half-braced. That voice is the very thing that must dim before rest can enter. In Zen, they speak of the self like a flame flickering in the wind. When that flame is left alone, it softens, it shrinks, it fades, until finally it disappears into the dark. Not from force, from release. So tonight, don't try to sleep. Don't chase it like a finish line. Don't measure the minutes. Don't narrate your failure. Just notice. Notice the one inside who wants, the one who thinks sleep is a task. See it and let it soften. Let that voice sit down and be quiet, not silenced, but no longer needed. Shift your awareness from the mind's wanting to the body's being. Notice the breath, the chest rising, the air moving in and out like tides on a quiet shore. Let your presence drop from your forehead to your heart, from thought to sensation, from tension to trust. Because the one who wants sleep is made of noise, but the one who falls asleep is made of silence. It is not the thinker who enters dreams. It is the one beneath the thinking, the watcher, the listener, the quiet witness who needs nothing, asks for nothing, and simply is. If a thought arises, "Why am I still awake?" let it pass like wind across water. Do not grab it. Do not follow. Just stay in the space below the thought. That is where rest lives. Not in control, in surrender. Let the wanting fade. Let the seeker dissolve. Let sleep come like a tide, finding the shoreline after the waves have ceased. The one who wants sleep is not the one who falls asleep. The one who falls asleep is the one who finally stops becoming and simply is. Let that be enough. Let that be you. Let it begin now. When you stop protecting yourself from rest, it finds you. We protect ourselves from more than pain. We protect ourselves from rest, from peace, from stillness. Somewhere along the way, the mind began to believe that rest is unsafe, that to truly let go is to become vulnerable, that if we stop planning, fixing, scanning for danger, we'll fall behind or fall apart. But Zen reveals a quieter truth. When you stop guarding yourself from rest, it finds you. Not because you chased it, but because you finally stepped out of the way. A student once told his Zen master, "I can't relax. Every time I try, I feel anxious, like something's going to go wrong if I don't stay alert." The master nodded, and pointed to a tightly clenched fist. "This is your mind," he said. "You're trying to hold the sky in your palm, but the sky doesn't need your grip. It needs your openness." The student slowly opened his hand. The tension softened. "Rest isn't a danger," the master said. "Your resistance to it is." Many people lie down at night, but their minds stay armored, guarded, braced, ready to respond. They wear their stress like a second skin, even in the softness of a bed. Because rest feels too much like surrender, and surrender has been mistaken for weakness. But Zen knows better. Zen says, rest is not something you earn, it is something you allow. It is not what happens after the work is done. It is what happens when the work stops mattering for a while. The nervous system doesn't soften because you tell it to. It softens because it feels safe enough to stop protecting you. And sometimes the greatest threat to your rest isn't the noise outside, it's the belief inside that you can't let go. But what if tonight you didn't have to be on guard? What if you didn't have to rehearse every scenario, defend against every regret, or plan every possible tomorrow? What if you allowed the soft truth in that you don't need to protect yourself from rest, because rest is not the enemy. Rest is the return. The body wants to heal. The breath wants to deepen. The heart wants to be quiet again. But they can't if the mind keeps pacing the gate, trying to control the dark. There is no battle in sleep. There is no war to win here. Only gravity, only silence, only trust. And yes, it takes trust to let go. To stop watching the horizon for danger. To stop solving problems that haven't arrived. But that trust is not blind. It is brave. Brave enough to say, I don't need to be on duty right now. Brave enough to lay the armor down. So let your hands unclench. Let your thoughts go unanswered. Let your body feel how deeply it's being held by the bed beneath you. You are safe. You are allowed. And there is nothing left to protect against in this moment. When you stop protecting yourself from rest, rest comes. Like water to dry soil. Like light through a crack. Like forgiveness after a long fight with yourself. It's been waiting, not for you to try harder, but for you to stop trying at all. Let it find you now, in your stillness, in your surrender, in your soft decision to finally stop guarding the door. And in that unguarded space, rest will enter, quiet, complete, enough. A restless night is still part of the practice. Don't resist it. Zen does not promise perfect stillness. It does not offer a mind free from wandering or a body that always obeys. What it offers instead is presence, even when peace feels distant. A restless night is not a failure. It's not a punishment. It's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It is part of the path. The tossing, the thinking, the heavy eyes that won't close, all of it belongs. All of it counts. The practice is not to escape the restlessness. The practice is to stop resisting it. A student once came to his master in the early hours of the morning, dark circles under his eyes. I couldn't sleep, he said. I did everything right, breathed, meditated, let go, but my body wouldn't settle. The master looked at him softly and said, Then, last night, you practiced staying present with restlessness, and that too is the way. There is a subtle violence in believing every night must be calm, that every breath must bring peace. Zen teaches that the need for perfection is the root of suffering. Even in the stillness we crave, there is movement. Even in the silence we seek, there are echoes. And even in our sleep, there will be nights when rest does not come easily. That doesn't mean you've failed. That means you are human. The mind will tell you, this is wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be. And in that resistance, the restlessness tightens. But if instead you say, this too is part of it, something shifts. The breath softens. The body stops bracing. And even if sleep doesn't arrive immediately, peace begins to return. Not because the discomfort is gone, but because you've stopped fighting it. To lie awake and breathe through it, that is practice. To feel the restlessness in your bones and meet it without judgment, that is practice. To stop trying to fix the night and instead allow it to unfold, moment by moment, breath by breath. That is practice. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not doing it wrong. Some nights the body needs time. Some nights the mind wants to speak. Some nights the silence feels just out of reach. That's okay. Don't turn restlessness into another enemy. Don't turn the clock into a weapon. Let the night be what it is. Let it move through you. Let it teach you. Let it be enough. Because the practice isn't about perfect sleep. It's about meeting whatever arises without resistance. Even this, even now, a restless night is still sacred, still healing, still full of presence if you choose to be present with it. So breathe, feel, let go, not of the restlessness, but of the belief that it doesn't belong. A restless night is still part of the practice. Don't resist it. Welcome it like rain after dry silence. Let it wash through you. Let it pass. Let it be. Surrender is not defeat. It is the gateway to peace. In a world that praises control, surrender is mistaken for weakness. Giving up, losing, falling behind. But in Zen, surrender is not the end of strength. It's the beginning of freedom. It is not collapse. It is not failure. It is the soft, brave act of setting down the armor that was never needed in the first place. Because peace doesn't come when we conquer the mind. It comes when we stop fighting it. Surrender is not defeat. It is the moment you stop making war with yourself. A monk once carried a heavy pack for hours up a mountain, determined to prove his endurance. When he reached the temple, his master didn't praise him. He simply said, "Now, drop it." The monk hesitated. "But I worked so hard to carry it." The master only smiled. And peace begins the moment you stop thinking that matters. We carry more than we realize. Expectations, guilt, pressure to be better, to do more, to figure everything out. Even as we lie down, the mind resists softening. It clings to the illusion that holding on will protect us, that letting go means losing. But Zen sees it differently. Letting go isn't falling apart. It's falling into what's real, into the breath, into the moment, into the quiet that's been waiting beneath the noise all along. Surrender doesn't mean everything is okay. It means not needing everything to be okay before you allow yourself to rest. It's saying, this moment is enough. This breath is enough. I don't need to fix what already happened. I don't need to predict what hasn't. I only need to stop tightening around the idea that I must. There is a sacred kind of strength in surrender. The kind that says, I trust life more than my grip on it. The kind that knows peace is not something to chase, but something to allow when the chase ends. The mind may still chatter. That's okay. The body may still ache. That's okay too. Surrender doesn't erase the human experience. It simply stops resisting it. As sleep approaches, you don't have to solve everything. You don't have to win the night. You only have to stop trying to win at all. Let the breath come without managing it. Let the thoughts pass without catching them. Let the body fall as it wants to, like leaves dropping in still air. Quiet, natural, free. There is no shame in surrender. There is grace in it. There is relief. There is the gentle return to what you were before the struggle began. And in that return, something opens, something deep, something soft, something peaceful enough to cradle you through the night. So tonight, release the war, the effort, the identity that needs to hold it all together. Surrender, not as escape, but as arrival, into presence, into trust, into the simple, wordless truth that you don't have to carry anything to be carried. Surrender is not defeat. It is the gateway to peace, and that gateway has always been open. You only needed to stop guarding it. Let yourself walk through now, unarmed, unburdened, unafraid, and let sleep greet you on the other side. There is no bad day once the mind stops carrying it to bed. A day only lasts as long as the sun is up. But for most, it lingers deep into the night, not because it has to, but because the mind refuses to let it end. We drag the day into bed like a heavy bag we forgot to put down. We replay the moments we regret, rehearse what we should have said, brace for what tomorrow might bring. But Zen teaches something quieter, something kinder. The day ends when the mind allows it to, and once it's set down, there is no bad day, only the peace that night offers freely, if we are willing to receive it. A student once sat in silence beside his master after a difficult day. "Everything went wrong," he whispered. "I failed. I embarrassed myself. I feel like I wasted the whole day." The master looked at the setting sun and said, "The sky does not keep the storms. Why should you?" The student blinked. "But the day was bad." The master smiled. "Then don't carry it into a good night." This is the quiet discipline of Zen, not to control the world, but to release it. To know that peace does not depend on how the day went, but on how the day ends. And it can end right here. Not by changing what happened, but by refusing to keep dragging it behind you. A bad moment does not have to become a bad night. A difficult conversation does not need to echo past midnight. The day already happened. The body already lived it. The heart already felt it. Let that be enough. Let the body be soft. Let the breath reclaim the space where thoughts once crowded. There is no reward for carrying the weight of the day to bed. No prize for rethinking every word. No wisdom that comes from replaying pain. The mind believes it must hold on to understand. But the truth is, the deepest understanding comes when we let go. The lesson has already been learned. The moment has already passed. What remains now is the opportunity to rest, to be, to return. So lie down, not as a person with a bad day, but as a being without time, without labels, without the need to explain or relive. The pillow does not care what happened. The sheets do not ask for your story. The night only asks this: will you let it begin? If thoughts rise, "That didn't go well. I should have done more. Why did I say that?" Meet them with stillness. Don't argue. Don't fix. Just breathe. And let those thoughts dissolve into the quiet, like footprints in sand washed by the tide. You are not your day. You are not your mistakes. You are not the unfinished to-do list. You are presence. You are breath. You are stillness. And stillness does not keep score. There is no bad day once the mind stops carrying it to bed. There is only this moment, this breath, this chance to start over before morning even comes. Let the day go. Let it drop behind you like a stone in water, and let sleep rise, not from the absence of trouble, but from the freedom of release. Let sleep find you doing nothing. In a world addicted to effort, doing nothing feels almost impossible. The mind rebels. It wants to prepare, fix, organize, perfect. Even sleep becomes a task to accomplish. But Zen quietly invites a different rhythm, one not built on trying, but on allowing. Let sleep find you not working to deserve it, not counting breaths or forcing stillness, but doing absolutely nothing. No control, no resistance, just being. A student once asked his Zen teacher, "What should I do to fall asleep peacefully?" The teacher simply said, "Stop doing." The student frowned. "Stop doing what?" The master looked up with a soft smile. "Everything." It sounds too simple, but that is the point. Sleep is not a reward for effort. It is what remains when effort falls away. The body knows how to sleep. The breath knows how to soften. It is only the mind, the forever manager, that interrupts the descent. It whispers, "You must do more. Relax harder. Think less. Sleep better." And so the mind circles itself, trying to fix what was never broken. Zen teaches us to step aside, not to silence the mind by force, but to stop entertaining its noise, not to chase stillness, but to let it arise naturally, like mist from warm ground. Doing nothing isn't passive. It's a quiet form of wisdom. It's trusting the moment enough to stop interfering with it. Tonight, as you lie in bed, notice how quickly the mind starts working, trying to optimize the breath, trying to calculate the right amount of sleep, trying to judge the day. When you see that happening, don't fight it. Don't analyze it. Just step back, as if you're sitting on the edge of a river, watching thoughts float by without touching the water. There is nothing to fix, no mantra to repeat, no problem to solve. You don't need to earn rest. You only need to stop interrupting it. Let your hands be still. Let your thoughts wander without following. Let your body settle without perfecting the pose. Let go of trying to get to sleep, and let sleep come to you. This is the paradox. The more you try to sleep, the further it drifts. But when you do nothing, when you allow the moment to be enough, sleep returns like a tide, quiet and full. Not because you summoned it, but because you finally stopped chasing it away. So breathe, sink. Don't search for the perfect state. Don't reach for calm. Don't even try to let go. Just let everything be as it is, untouched by effort. Let stillness arrive on its own, without an invitation. Let sleep find you not performing rest, but becoming it. Let sleep find you doing nothing, and in that nothingness, everything softens, everything heals, everything begins again. The tight grip of the mind is what keeps the body awake. The body is tired, it's ready, it's asking to rest, but the mind holds on. It holds the wheel, the reins, the rope, refusing to loosen, refusing to trust. And this is the secret Zen points to again and again. It's not the body that resists sleep, it's the mind that won't let go. The thoughts, the worries, the spinning questions, these are the clenched fists that keep the body tense, the breath shallow, the night long. The tight grip of the mind is what keeps the body awake. A student once told his master, "I lie down at night and feel exhausted, but I can't sleep." The master handed him a cup of water and said, "Hold this with all your strength." The student gripped it tightly. "Now," the master said, "relax your hand." Water spilled gently onto the floor. "Did the cup disappear?" the master asked. "No," the student replied. "Exactly," said the master. "You don't need to grip something for it to remain. You can hold life gently, even thoughts, even yourself." The body naturally knows how to sleep. It's the mind that forgets. It clutches the day's failures. It squeezes tomorrow's plans. It wraps around fear like a vine. But the tighter the mind holds, the more alert the body becomes, because it believes there's something to fight, something to solve, something unfinished. Zen invites us to do something radical, loosen. Not everything, just enough, just the breath, just the shoulders, just the thought that says, "I can't rest until I fix this." The tight grip shows up in small ways: clenched teeth, a furrowed brow, a racing heart. The body responds to the mind's tension as if danger is near. But there is no danger now, just a bed, just darkness, just breath. So tonight, don't try to shut the mind off. Don't try to silence it by force, just loosen. Let each breath open the hand a little more. Let each exhale soften the grip. Thoughts may come, but you don't have to hold them so tightly. You can let them pass. You can nod to them without inviting them to stay. Your body is waiting for permission. Not from the world, from you. It doesn't need you to solve the day. It needs you to stop reliving it. It doesn't need you to push thoughts away. It needs you to stop pulling them closer. Lie down, not like a soldier bracing for battle, but like someone finally setting down the armor. The bed is not a battlefield. The breath is not a weapon. This is a return, a release. And if the mind tightens again, that's okay. Notice it, smile at it, then breathe and loosen once more. Because it's not the noise that keeps you up, it's the grip. And once you release the need to hold everything together, the body will remember what it's always known: how to rest, how to heal, how to sleep. The tight grip of the mind is what keeps the body awake. But even now, in this breath, you can begin to let go. Just a little, then a little more, until sleep doesn't have to be forced. It simply arrives, quietly, gratefully, freely. Peace is what remains when the commentary ends. The mind never just sees, it comments, it narrates, It analyzes, it judges, it creates stories about everything it touches, even the quiet, even the breath, even the attempt to rest. But Zen reveals a deeper truth. Peace is not something we create. It is what's already here, beneath the running commentary. The moment the narration pauses, even for a breath, peace is revealed. Not summoned, not built, just uncovered, like the sky behind a curtain of clouds. A student once sat before his master, restless and exhausted. "I keep trying to feel peaceful," he said, "but my thoughts won't stop commenting on everything. Even now, I'm thinking about how I shouldn't be thinking." The master poured tea until it overflowed. The student panicked. "It's spilling," the master said gently. "So is your mind." Commentary is like that. Overflow. Not the moment itself, but all the mind adds to it. "This isn't working. I should be further along. Why do I always think this much?" These are not the problem. They are the echo of the problem. The smoke, not the fire. And Zen teaches, don't silence the commentary. Just stop believing it matters. Because peace is not an achievement. It is what remains when there's nothing left to say about the moment. No labeling, no fixing, no judging. Just pure being. Just now. As you lie down tonight, notice how quickly the commentary begins. It may start before your head hits the pillow. "I didn't get enough done today. I should have said something different. I hope I sleep better tonight." Each of these is a voice layered on top of reality, not reality itself. The breath is still breathing. The body is still resting. The moment is still here. What if you didn't respond? What if you didn't argue with the voice or try to make it go quiet? What if you simply let the commentary keep talking while you stopped listening? Zen does not ask you to mute the mind. It asks you to step behind it, to become the awareness that watches thoughts rise and fall without attaching to their message. Thoughts will come, but you don't have to join the conversation. You don't need to narrate the moment to live in it. In fact, the more you narrate, the further you drift. But when the commentary fades, even for a second, there it is. Peace. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady, spacious, complete. The mind is like a storyteller who never pauses, but peace is the silence between the lines, and it's always been there, waiting for your attention to shift. So, rest now, not in ideas about rest, but in the direct experience of this moment. Let the mind say what it wants, like a television playing softly in the next room. You don't have to turn it off. You just don't have to keep watching. Peace is not something you earn by thinking the right thoughts. It is what remains when you stop trying to think your way there at all. When the commentary ends, or when you stop following it, you'll find that peace was never missing, only hidden beneath the noise. So lie back, let go. And if the commentary rises again, smile gently. It's just sound, just habit. Let it float by like a passing cloud, and return, not to silence as a goal, but to presence as a home. Because peace isn't the absence of thought. It's the absence of need for thought. It is what remains when the commentary ends. And in that sacred stillness, sleep comes not as a reward, but as a quiet reunion with what's always been yours. When you don't cling to waking, you don't fear sleeping. The fear of sleep is never really about sleep. It's about letting go. letting go of control, letting go of the known, letting go of the part of you that stays busy, alert, in charge. The waking mind clings tightly to its own aliveness. It wants to keep thinking, keep moving, keep deciding. But sleep asks for the opposite. It asks for surrender. And that's why Zen reminds us, when you stop clinging to waking, you stop fearing sleep. Because sleep is not an ending, it is a return. A student once confessed to his Zen master, "When I try to fall asleep, I become afraid. It feels like I'm falling away from myself." The master nodded and replied, "That's because you're still trying to hold yourself together, but you are not a wall to keep standing. You are a wave that must rise and fall. Sleep is not your enemy, it is your turning back into the sea." We often mistake wakefulness for safety. We believe that if we stay thinking, we stay in control. That if we stay alert, we can protect ourselves from what might go wrong. But Zen asks us to look deeper. What if true safety comes not from gripping, but from releasing? What if peace begins not by clinging to waking life, but by loosening your grip on the need to remain in it? Sleep is not the opposite of life. It is part of it. It is not absence. It is presence in a different form. And when we stop fearing its arrival, when we stop clinging to the surface of consciousness, we sink naturally into its quiet waters. You don't have to fall asleep. You only have to stop holding yourself above the current. The part of you that fears sleep is the same part that fears silence, stillness, surrender. But fear only arises when we believe we're losing something. Zen teaches that you lose nothing in sleep. You only return to softness, to stillness, to the part of you untouched by thought or effort. So as you lie down tonight, feel the part of you that's still clinging to the day, to identity, to noise. Gently thank it for trying to protect you. Then breathe and release. You don't need to stay awake to stay safe. You don't need to keep thinking to stay alive. You don't need to cling to consciousness like a raft in the sea. The sky does not fear nightfall. The moon does not resist the dark. And you don't need to resist sleep. It is not a loss. It is not a defeat. It is not a vanishing. It is a soft falling inward, a quiet homecoming. Let the breath guide you there. Let the body lead. And when thoughts rise, what if I don't fall asleep? Answer with stillness, with trust, with release. Because when you don't cling to waking, you don't fear sleeping. You simply fall, gently, into the arms of what was never separate from you, into the rhythm of rest that's always been waiting. Try nothing, do nothing, want nothing. Then feel what remains. The entire world moves on effort, on striving, on grasping for what's next. Even peace is often pursued like a goal, as something to reach, to earn, to capture with just the right ritual or routine. But Zen points in a different direction. Not forward, not upward, inward, to the moment when all effort dissolves and something deeper is finally allowed to surface. Try nothing, do nothing, want nothing, then feel what remains. That is where truth lives. That is where rest begins. A restless monk once came to his teacher and asked, "What else can I try? I've meditated, fasted, studied scriptures. I've done everything, Why do I still feel so far from peace?" The master said nothing. Hours passed. The student waited. Finally, he broke the silence. "Well?" The master looked at him and said, "Now that you've stopped doing everything, perhaps peace will arrive." There's a tension most people carry into bed. The tension of trying to feel relaxed, trying to breathe correctly, trying to get the mind to shut up. But trying is still effort, still noise. And Zen gently reminds us, peace does not arrive when we try harder. It arrives when we no longer need to. When you try nothing, something strange happens. The layer of tension that lives between you and the present moment begins to dissolve. The noise of wanting, achieving, and controlling softens. And what's left is something many have forgotten how to feel: simplicity, spaciousness, enoughness. Doing nothing doesn't mean apathy. It means trust. Trust that life moves on its own, that the breath keeps breathing, that the earth keeps holding you up, that you don't need to engineer every second of your existence to deserve rest. Wanting nothing doesn't mean you lose all desire. It means for this moment you stop chasing. You step off the wheel. You release the grip that says, this moment isn't enough. And suddenly, the moment opens. It expands. It welcomes you back to what was always here. So tonight, stop seeking a better state. Stop manipulating the breath. Stop waiting for the perfect stillness to arrive. Instead, notice what happens when you do nothing, when you let the breath breathe itself, when you let the mind wander without following, when you allow the body to be exactly as it is. This is not a practice to master, it is an undoing, a gentle unlearning of the belief that peace must be earned, manufactured, or achieved. Try nothing, do nothing, want nothing, and then notice what is still here. Awareness, silence, presence. That quiet hum beneath everything, steady and untouched. Feel the bed beneath you, not as a strategy, but as reality. Let the breath move, not as a technique, but as life itself. Let the thoughts pass, not with resistance, but with disinterest. There's nothing to reach, nowhere to go, nothing to become. And in that space, something remains, something vast, something tender, something that has no name but feels like coming home, not because you built it, but because you finally stopped building. Try nothing, do nothing, want nothing, then feel what remains. That is peace, that is freedom, that is where sleep finds you, not as an achievement, but as a return. The body knows how to sleep. It's the mind that forgot how. The body is ancient. It knows the rhythm of day and night, the pull of gravity, the slow exhale of rest. Long before language, before clocks, before pressure to perform, the body knew how to sleep. It curled into silence without question. It sank into darkness without resistance. Sleep was never something to earn, it was something to return to. And even now, beneath the noise of modern thought, the body still remembers. It's the mind that forgot. A student once sat before a Zen master, weary-eyed and frustrated. "I can't sleep," he said. "I lie down, but nothing happens." The master asked, Is your bed soft? The student nodded. Is your body tired? He nodded again. Then it's not your body that's keeping you up, the master replied. It's the mind pacing outside the door, refusing to come in. The body doesn't worry about tomorrow. It doesn't replay conversations. It doesn't plan or judge or rehearse. The body only knows the present. It breathes. It softens. It senses. And if allowed, it sleeps. But the mind, always trying to protect, interrupts. It scans the past. It predicts the future. It narrates the moment instead of experiencing it. And in doing so, it forgets how to trust the body to do what it already knows how to do. Zen is not about shutting the mind off. It's about returning the mind to its rightful place, not as the master, but as the guest. When you stop demanding silence from the mind and instead gently disinvite it from the center stage, space opens. And in that space, the body can finally do what it has been trying to do all along: rest. Tonight, you don't need to force anything. You don't need to convince your body to sleep. You don't need to perfect your breath or achieve stillness like a goal. You only need to remember that sleep is not something you make happen. It's something you allow. Let your awareness drop below the thoughts, down into the warmth of your chest, the weight of your legs, the quiet rhythm of breath. Let the body feel the bed. Let it sink. Let it drift. Let it lead. And when the mind speaks up, why am I still awake? What if I can't sleep? Hear it like passing traffic. You don't have to get in the car. You don't have to answer the door. You can nod to the thought and return to the body. Again and again and again. The body is not confused. It knows the way back to stillness. The nervous system knows how to unwind. The breath knows how to guide you. All the mind has to do is stop trying to be in charge. So lie down, not to try sleeping, but to let sleeping happen. Don't force, don't fix, don't fight. The body knows how to sleep. It always has. Let the mind remember how to trust it. Let the thoughts soften. Let the breath lead. And let sleep return, not as something you achieve, but as something you were never separated from. Don't. Quiet the thoughts. Quiet your reaction to them. Thoughts will come. That's their nature. Like wind through trees or waves against the shore, the mind will move. Zen doesn't promise to stop the wind or still the water. It teaches you to stop flinching every time they pass. You don't need to quiet the thoughts. You only need to quiet your reaction to them. It's not the thought that disturbs your peace. It's the belief that you must do something with it. A monk once told his teacher, "I cannot meditate. My thoughts are too loud." The teacher smiled, lit a candle and said, "The flame dances. Does that mean the room is on fire?" The monk watched the flicker, still and unmoved. "No," he said. The teacher nodded. "Then let your thoughts dance, and stop rushing to put out flames that don't burn." The mind speaks in every language it knows: fear, memory, hunger, regret. It offers commentary, warnings, ideas, arguments. But it is your reaction that turns those whispers into noise. You tense, you chase, you argue, you fix. And suddenly, what could have passed in seconds lingers for hours. Zen invites you to try something softer. When the thought arises, let it. When it speaks, don't respond. When it returns, don't resist. Quietness does not mean the absence of thought. It means the absence of need. The need to solve, the need to correct, the need to follow. As you lie down tonight, thoughts may come. They might say you didn't do enough, that tomorrow will be hard, that something's wrong. Let them pass through like wind through an open window. Do not chase them closed. Do not stand guard. Let the mind speak and let it echo in an empty room. You do not need to fight the noise to return to peace. You only need to stop adding to it. Every reaction, every tightening, every internal comment, every judgment feeds the thought. But your stillness starves it. Your non-response dissolves it. Quiet your reaction. Let the thought float. You are not the voice. You are the sky it travels through. You are the stillness beneath the ripple. You are the witness that does not flinch. This isn't apathy. It's clarity. It's the moment you stop pouring fuel into a fire that would have gone out on its own. And in that stillness, something beautiful happens. The mind keeps speaking, but it no longer disturbs. It becomes background music. Not a command, not a storm, just sound. So don't try to quiet the thoughts. Don't force stillness. Just relax the grip around each one. Let them rise like steam. Let them fall like dust. Your reaction is the only bridge between the thought and your suffering. Step off the bridge. Stay on the shore. And there, in the soft quiet, you didn't create but simply allowed, sleep will find you. Not because you silenced the mind, but because you no longer believed it needed to be silenced at all. Each breath can be an eraser, if you let it be. The day leaves marks, tiny scribbles of stress, smudges of worry, heavy lines of tension drawn deep into the chest. Most people carry these marks into the night without realizing. But Zen offers a quiet invitation. Breathe and let each breath be an eraser. Not a violent strikeout, not a frantic undoing, but a gentle softening, a dissolving, a returning to the blank page. A student once told his master, "I wish I could let go of everything when I lie down, but it feels like my mind is covered in ink I can't wash off." The master picked up a brush and dipped it into water, then slowly ran it across the ink. It faded into grey, then into nothing. "You don't need to scrub," the master said. "You only need to soak in breath. Let it do the work." This is what breath can be, a quiet solvent for the mental clutter, a subtle wave washing over the noise, not fixing the stories, not solving the problems, but gently erasing the need to carry them. Each inhale brings space. Each exhale lets go. Not dramatically, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to feel the weight lift, just a little. Enough to feel the grip loosen. Enough to allow the next breath to do the same. You don't need to force peace. You don't need to control the mind. You don't need to erase everything at once. Just one breath, then another. Let the breath move through you like a brush over a chalkboard, softly clearing, gently undoing, making room. Notice how the body responds when you allow the breath to be more than just survival, when you let it become a release. The shoulders drop, the jaw unlocks, the heartbeat slows. Not because you made it happen, but because you stopped holding everything so tightly. And when the mind returns with its scribbles, What about this? Don't forget that. You should have. Just breathe. Don't argue. Don't resist. Don't reach for more ink. Just return to the eraser. Trust it. Use it. There's nothing wrong with the marks. They're part of being alive. But sleep asks for space. It asks for a clean canvas, not perfection. And breath is how we make space. Not by force, by rhythm. So tonight, let your breath work quietly, like waves washing over footprints, like wind wiping a foggy mirror clear. No rush, no pressure, just breath. Just now, just the freedom to let things go without needing to understand them first. Each breath can be an eraser if you let it be. And in its quiet clearing, rest will come. Gently, naturally. Not because you chased it, but because you cleared a path for it to arrive. Close your eyes, not to shut out the world, but to open yourself. Closing your eyes is not an escape. It's a return. In Zen, it's never about shutting the world out or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about turning inward, not to hide, but to see more clearly. When the eyes close, the outer noise fades, but what remains is not darkness. It's space, infinite space. And in that space, something long forgotten begins to breathe again. Not the persona, not the performance, the self, the quiet presence beneath it all. A student once asked his master, "Why do we close our eyes to meditate? Shouldn't we face the world?" The master replied, "Close your eyes, not because the world is too much, but because you are too far from yourself." The student hesitated. "So I'm hiding?" The master shook his head. "No, you are meeting yourself for the first time without distraction." There's a reason Zen monks sit in silence, eyelids lowered, not to block reality, but to clear the fog of reaction, thought, expectation. When the eyes close, the inner gaze sharpens. You begin to feel the breath, not as biology, but as presence. You feel the body, not as function, but as home. You start to remember that who you are has never been out there. It's here, always here, but drowned beneath too much seeing. We spend so much of the day scanning, faces, screens, signals, always outward. But the deepest knowing doesn't arrive through the eyes. It arrives through stillness, through turning attention back to the source, like a river remembering its spring. So tonight, when you close your eyes, don't treat it as an end. Don't treat it as shutting down. Treat it as opening, a doorway swinging wide inward, a soft descent into truth. You are not cutting yourself off from the world. You are reconnecting to the part of you that has never needed to look to know. And yes, thoughts may still arise, emotions may still move, but your eyes are closed not to deny them, but to meet them more honestly, without performance, without posture, without the pressure to respond. This is a sacred meeting. You with you, no mask, no title, just breath, just being. Close your eyes and listen, not for answers, but for presence. Feel, not for meaning, but for aliveness. Let the outer world dissolve for a moment, not because it is too much, but because it is not the source of peace. That source lives here, behind the eyes, beneath the noise, beyond the names. Close your eyes as a bow inward, as a quiet act of reverence for the self you've ignored while looking outward all day. And in that dark, there is light. Not the kind that blinds, but the kind that reveals. Because when you close your eyes, not to shut out the world, but to open yourself, you do not disappear. You come home. And in that home, sleep walks gently in, not as an escape, but as a reunion, a soft unfolding into everything you've always been. The softest thoughts are still too loud for silence. Silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the absence of effort. It's not the quiet between words or the hush of a dark room. It's something deeper, stillness that doesn't ask, awareness that doesn't reach, a sacred kind of quiet that can only be entered when all else is put down. Even the gentle thoughts, even the whispers, even the soft mental touch that says, just one more thing to consider before sleep. Because in true silence, even that is too loud. A student once sat in meditation, still and calm, the breath slow, the body quiet. Afterward, he told the master, "I had no thoughts, just a soft awareness thinking how peaceful I was." The master looked at him kindly and said, "Even the wind brushing a leaf still disturbs the water." Zen points beyond thinking, not because thought is bad, but because thought is movement. Even a kind thought, even a soft one. It is the ripple that breaks the surface. It is the faint tap that echoes too far. And silence, true silence, is not disturbed by volume. It is disturbed by intention, by grasping, by just one more idea. This is why sleep escapes those who try to think themselves calm. Because even calm thoughts are thoughts. Even gentle self-soothing is still the mind at work. And silence is not something the mind creates. It's what remains when the mind lets go. Tonight, you don't need to chase quiet. You don't need to design perfect stillness in your head. You don't need to think yourself into peace. You only need to notice when the mind wants to help and kindly step away. Even the thought, "I'm doing well," or "I'm almost there," can tighten the breath, stir the surface, awaken the watcher again. But silence doesn't speak. Silence doesn't count how far you've come. It only waits beneath all of it. So, as you lie in the dark, feel the thoughts arise like feathers floating through the air. Some are heavy with meaning. Some are light with kindness. But all are movement. And you don't need any of them now, not to be safe, not to be whole, not to sleep. Return instead to the breath, not as a mantra, not as a tool, but as presence. Let it flow through you, untouched by thought. Let it be enough. And when the mind whispers one more time, just a soft thought, just this one, smile. Let it pass. It too is too loud for where you're going. Because the softest thoughts are still too loud for silence, and silence is where true rest begins. Your breath has never betrayed you. Trust it. Through every moment of chaos, every heartbreak, every storm of the mind, you've had one companion that never left you. Your breath. It has carried you through sleepless nights, through silent grief, through laughter, through longing, through fear. It has never betrayed you. It has never abandoned you. It asks for nothing, demands no reward. It simply shows up, again and again, with quiet devotion. And tonight, When the thoughts grow loud and the world fades into shadow, Zen invites you to remember, your breath is your anchor, your guide, your softest truth. Trust it. A student once asked his teacher, "What can I rely on when nothing feels steady?" The master pointed to the student's chest. "The breath," he said. "It's been with you longer than any thought, longer than any story. It has never lied to you, and it will never leave you until the end. Trust it, and you will never be lost." We trust thoughts more than we trust breath, but thoughts are fickle. They change shape. They shout and twist and contradict. The breath doesn't. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't get tangled in the stories. It simply is, rising, falling, steady, present, always here. Zen teaches that the breath is not just air. It is awareness. It is presence in motion. It is the body's way of saying, "You are alive, you are safe, you are already home." And when you tune into it, not to control it, but to follow it, you begin to return, not to a better version of yourself, but to the part of you that was never afraid. As you lie in bed, you may feel thoughts circling. You may feel the pulse of worry or the tug of regret. Let them be. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to fix them. Just drop beneath them, into the breath, into the rhythm that has held you since the moment you were born. Feel the inhale not as effort, but as trust. Feel the exhale not as release, but as return. You don't need to count it. You don't need to slow it. You only need to notice it. And in noticing, you remember that peace was never out there. It was always inside the breath you've been too distracted to feel. Every breath is a teacher. It teaches surrender. It teaches rhythm. It teaches patience. When you are lost in thought, the breath is the way back. When the night feels too long, the breath carries you through. When your mind tries to outrun the moment, your breath stays behind and waits for you to return. Let that be enough tonight. Not mantras, not control, not effort, just trust. Let the breath be your ground. Let it be your comfort. Let it be the quiet friend who says nothing but reminds you of everything, because your breath has never betrayed you. It has only ever tried to bring you home. So trust it now. Let it carry you into the softness of this night, into the stillness beneath the thoughts, into the sleep that does not need to be chased. Trust the breath, and let it lead you back to peace. A good night's sleep begins with a full release of identity. Who you were today does not need to follow you into the night. The name you answered to, the roles you played, the emotions you carried, the mask you wore, they were all part of the daylight. But sleep doesn't need them. Sleep asks for nothing but your presence, and identity is the one thing that cannot stay. Zen whispers what the world forgets. The self is not fixed, and rest begins when you stop needing to be someone. A good night's sleep begins with a full release of identity. A student once told his master, "At night, I feel too full of myself to rest, my thoughts, my memories, my failures." The master replied, "Then you are trying to sleep with your shoes still on." The student blinked. "But I'm not wearing any shoes." The master smiled. "Your name is a shoe. Your shame is a shoe. Your pride is a shoe. Take them off." We spend the day collecting ourselves, our image, our opinions, our sense of where we fit in the world. But in Zen, identity is not solid. It is fluid, momentary, useful for functioning, but not for resting. The I that solves problems, that plays roles, that keeps score, cannot sleep, because it is always on, always preparing, always guarding its shape. To sleep deeply, something softer must take its place. Not another version of you, not a better version. Just space, just awareness, just breath. Sleep is not found through achievement. It's found through dissolving into the formless peace that exists when nothing more needs to be held. This is not abandonment. It's coming home. Letting go of identity does not erase you. It reveals the part of you untouched by identity, the part that breathes whether you succeed or fail, the part that doesn't care if you were wise or messy, productive or lost, the part that only knows now. As you lie down tonight, feel what you're still holding. Are you still someone's child, someone's parent? Are you still the worker, the friend, the dreamer, the disappointed one? All of these are stories, all of them are costumes, and all of them can be gently folded and set aside. Breathe, release the names, release the need to define. Let the body be just a body, let the mind be just movement, let the breath be just breath, not yours, not anyone's, just presence. And if a thought says, "But who am I without my identity?" answer it with silence, because the one asking is the one that needs to sleep. Let identity fall like a coat slipping from your shoulders. Let it slide into the night without resistance. Let yourself be no one, be nothing, be still. A good night's sleep doesn't come to the person with the strongest will. It comes to the one who no longer needs to be anyone at all. So close your eyes and return, not to who you were or who you'll be, but to what you've always been beneath it. Something nameless, something whole, something quietly waiting to rest. Tonight, release the person, keep the presence, and let sleep find the space that's finally free. Do not solve the mind. Let the mind dissolve. The mind wants to be solved. It presents itself like a puzzle, urgent, unfinished, begging for resolution. So, we sit with our thoughts like scattered pieces, turning them over, trying to make them fit. We analyze, we dig, we loop through memory and worry, thinking that maybe, just maybe, one more thought will complete the picture. But Zen whispers a deeper truth. The mind is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a fog to be walked through, a wave to be let pass. Do not solve the mind, let the mind dissolve. A student once told his teacher, "I've spent years trying to understand myself, my thoughts, my patterns, my past, and still I'm restless." The master replied, "Water becomes clear not by stirring it, but by letting it settle." The student asked, "So I should do nothing?" The master smiled, "You should stop trying to fix the water with your hands." The mind feeds on effort. Every attempt to understand it strengthens its voice. Every reaction becomes fuel. But the more you try to solve the mind, the more entangled you become in its stories. Peace is not found at the end of a thought. It's found in the space where thought no longer matters. Let the mind be what it is, weather, movement, habit. Let it swirl if it must. Let it echo, but do not answer, do not debate, do not chase. Rest is not found in figuring it out. Rest is what happens when the figuring ends. As you lie down tonight, notice how quickly the solving begins. The mind may want to rework the day, correct a conversation, prepare for what's ahead. But solving is effort, and effort is tension. Instead of entering the mind's maze, pause, step back, breathe. Allow everything to be unsolved, unfinished, unfixed. Watch what happens when you stop trying to hold the pieces together. Slowly, the thoughts begin to lose their grip. Not because you pushed them away, but because you stopped holding them up. You stepped out of the courtroom, you left the stage, you let the mind speak and chose not to respond. This is the beginning of true rest. The moment when the noise keeps moving, but you don't. The moment when the mind, unfed, begins to dissolve, like mist in morning sun, like a wave returning to the sea. And in its place, space. Not emptiness, but vastness. Not silence, but stillness. Awareness so wide that thought becomes just another ripple passing through, not something to fear or fix or follow. Let sleep come as you rest in this openness. Do not try to perfect the moment. Do not try to master your thoughts. Just let them come and go, like birds across the sky, like clouds over still water. You are not here to solve the mind. You are here to remember that beneath the mind there is something deeper, something quiet, something whole, and that something is already resting. Do not solve the mind. Let the mind dissolve, and in its dissolving, find yourself, not as the thinker, but as the space the thoughts pass through, still, clear, free. There's no right way to rest, only a full way. We are taught to perform, even in stillness, to rest the right way, the quietest room, the perfect breath, the mind like glass. But Zen undoes this. It reminds us, rest is not a technique. It is not something to master. It is not a competition to win. There's no gold medal for perfect posture, no score for how still your thoughts become. There is no right way to rest, only a full way, a way that welcomes all of you, exactly as you are, and lets the weight fall. A student once asked his master, "Am I meditating correctly if my thoughts keep coming back?" The master replied, "Do the trees complain if the wind stirs their leaves?" The student shook his head. "Then don't expect your mind to be still to be at peace. Just be fully with the wind." Rest is not the absence of movement. It's the absence of resistance. It's not the perfect setting. It's your willingness to stop judging where you are, to let the breath be uneven, to let the thoughts pass like birds overhead, to lie down not as someone trying to rest the right way, but as someone no longer needing to get it right. So often, the pressure to sleep steals the softness of rest. We think, "I should be asleep by now. I must be doing something wrong." But there is no wrong. There is only presence, or the absence of it. And presence, even in restlessness, is still rest. The body does not ask for perfection. It asks for permission. Permission to be tired, permission to let go, permission to be held without needing to explain itself. Tonight, give yourself that permission. Whether you lie still or turn 100 times, whether the breath is deep or shallow, whether your mind is quiet or full of echoes, Let it all be part of the rest. Let nothing be excluded. Let nothing be wrong. Be full, full of your tiredness, full of your breath, full of your humanness. Let the bed take all of you, not just the polished pieces. Because rest is not found in getting it right. It's found in showing up with nothing left to prove. So come undone, come imperfect, come exactly as you are. There's no right way to rest. Only this breath, this moment, this letting go, completely. Let your body drop like a leaf. Let the floor hold your fall. There is a moment in every leaf's life when it stops clinging. No resistance, no struggle. It simply lets go, and the wind does the rest. It does not brace. It does not fight gravity. It trusts the fall. Zen invites us to do the same, to stop holding ourselves up by sheer will, to stop tensing through the quiet, to stop fearing surrender. Let your body drop like a leaf. Let the floor hold your fall. A student once asked his master, "How do I relax, truly relax?" The master led him to a tree and said, "Watch." A single leaf trembled, then released. It floated downward, twisting gently, with no rush, no resistance. "It trusts the ground," the master said. "When will you?" We carry ourselves all day long, shoulders up, jaw tight, breath shallow. Even when we lie down, we often do not truly rest. We hover, half relaxed, half prepared, still braced against a world that isn't even in the room anymore. But the body knows how to let go. It only waits for permission. Zen teaches that surrender is not collapse. It's wisdom. The wisdom of letting gravity do what it's always done. Hold you. The floor is not an enemy. The bed is not a trap. They are invitations, quiet places that say, you no longer need to carry the weight. So as you lie down tonight, feel where the body is still holding. The subtle tension in your back, the grip in your belly, the buzz beneath your skin. Then soften, not by force, but by trust. Let your spine melt into the surface beneath you. Let your limbs be heavy. Let your breath fall out of you like an exhale that doesn't need to be replaced. Imagine the way a leaf floats, slow, surrendered, unhurried, not dropped, but released. Let your body follow that rhythm. Let every muscle remember that it doesn't need to do right now. It only needs to be held. And if your thoughts still race, that's okay. Let them be wind. Let them move through. But let your body ignore them. Let the flesh rest, even when the mind tries to stay on duty. Trust the floor. Trust the stillness. Trust that the world will keep turning while you rest. There is no effort in a falling leaf. Only freedom. Let that freedom be yours tonight. Let yourself fall, not into darkness, but into support, into safety, into surrender. Let your body drop like a leaf. Let the floor hold your fall. And in that fall, discover what rest really feels like. When nothing holds itself up, and everything is finally allowed to let go. Sleep is not an escape. It's a return to the space before thinking. We often treat sleep like a door we run through to get away from the noise, from the pressure, from the endless loop of thought. But Zen offers a deeper truth. Sleep isn't an escape. It's not a hiding place. It's a return, a gentle homecoming to the space that existed before thought ever began. before names, before stories, before the mind claimed everything as mine. Sleep is not the end of consciousness. It's the falling back into what consciousness was before it needed to understand itself. A student once said to his master, "I use sleep to forget the world." The master shook his head. "Then you are not sleeping, you are running. True sleep is not forgetting, it is remembering what you were before the world arrived." This is the heart of Zen. Thought is not the root of being, it's a ripple on the surface. Beneath it is something untouched, a deep, silent presence that doesn't need answers, doesn't need direction, doesn't need identity. And sleep, real sleep, is not the shutting off of the mind. It is the slipping beneath it, to the space that was always there, waiting. You don't fall asleep by pushing the world away. You fall asleep by softening your grip on it, not rejecting life, but returning to what holds it all, to what listens beneath the thoughts, to what breathes before language, to what watches without judgment. As you lie down tonight, notice the difference between trying to escape the day and returning to yourself. One is filled with tension, the other softness. The escaping mind says, "I can't take any more." The returning heart says, "I'm ready to let go." Let sleep be that return. Let it guide you not out of life, but deeper into the quiet fabric that holds it all. Let the breath lead you, soft, simple, ancient. Let it peel back the layers of thought, one by one, until there is only stillness left. If thoughts rise, don't fight them, don't try to block them out. Just see them as ripples, fading, noise that comes and goes. Don't answer, don't chase, just sink. You are not here to escape, you are here to return, to the breath, to the space before identity, before form, before thought. That space is not empty. It's full of calm, of warmth, of being. And it knows how to hold you. Sleep is not an escape. It's a return to the space before thinking. Let yourself fall, not away from the world, but back into the silence that came before it. That silence is still here, waiting, ready, whole. At the end of effort, sleep waits with open hands. Sleep is not a reward for exhaustion. It's not the finish line of productivity. It doesn't wait for everything to be perfect, or for your mind to be blank, or your body to be still in the right way. Sleep is far more generous than that. Zen teaches that sleep arrives not through force, but through surrender. It comes not when you've done enough, but when you've done all you're going to do. At the end of effort, sleep waits, not with demands, but with open hands. A student once told his master, "I try so hard to sleep, but it never comes." The master replied, "Then stop trying. Sleep isn't hiding from you. You are chasing it away." The student blinked, confused. "But how do I let go?" The master smiled gently. "Stop reaching. Fall backwards. Sleep will catch you." Effort is tension. Even good intentions, calming the breath, quieting the mind, relaxing the body, can become strain when we try too hard. And Zen reminds us, what you try to grasp escapes, but what you soften around begins to settle. So many lie in bed trying to earn sleep, as if rest must be justified. But sleep doesn't require your resume. It just asks you to stop. Stop performing. Stop solving. Stop perfecting. There is no technique to master tonight. Only the soft truth that you don't need to do anything more. The day is done. The body is enough. The breath is still arriving. Proof that something greater than you is carrying you already. Let the arms of effort grow tired. Let the mind stop proving its worth. Let the body drop into the support it has been offered all along, and feel what's beneath the struggle, an openness, a gentleness, a vast, quiet invitation. That is where sleep lives, not down a narrow path of tricks and tools, but in the wide open space that appears the moment you stop trying to get there. It's been waiting all this time, not tapping its foot impatiently, but with open hands, ready to cradle you the second you stop resisting your own rest. Tonight, let go not just physically, but inwardly. Let go of the need to do it right. Let go of the idea that sleep is something to win. Breathe not to control, but to feel. Rest not to escape, but to arrive. You do not need to reach for sleep. You only need to stop reaching altogether. At the end of effort, it comes, quietly, lovingly, like a friend you forgot was always nearby. Let everything you carried today drop beside the bed. Let every unfinished thought fall through the cracks. Let the stillness open its hands, and let yourself be received. Because at the end of effort, sleep waits, not with rules, not with judgment, just open hands, and finally, the space to be held.